Chapter 5:27. Retreat, retreat. Lu Ming frantically retreated. He felt a fatal crisis. At this moment, with his injured body, even if he used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, it would be impossible. He was afraid that if Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, the terrifying pressure between heaven and earth would crush his heart. That was because the wound was so deep that his heart was almost exposed. He could only retreat. Kill! Shen Yu roared. He and his saber seemed to have become one, turning into a terrifying saber light that pierced through the layers of the void, appearing in front of Lu Ming and chopping down on Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming blocked with his spear. Clang! The demon-suppressing spear started to vibrate rapidly. Lu Ming could feel a terrifying force hitting the demon-suppressing spear, causing it to vibrate rapidly. The terrifying force caused Lu Ming's arms to go numb. He actually couldn't hold onto the demon-suppressing spear. Whoosh! The demon-banishing spear was sent flying. Xing Yu's saber light continued to chop down on Lu Ming's head. Block! Lu Ming roared. His eyes were bloodshot as he erupted his strength to the extreme. His left hand contained the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline, and his right hand contained the power of the 2nd bloodline. At the same time, the 3 intents merged into his hands. Bang! Lu Ming clasped his hands together and clamped Shen Yu's saber. Boom! The terrifying force made Lu Ming fall directly to the ground. Boom! Lu Ming stepped on the ground, and the earth let out a violent roar. The ground was like a ripple, violently shaking. Within a radius of 5 miles, it was swept away by a storm of energy and flattened. Lu Ming's hand was still clamping down on Shen Yu's saber. Die! Shen Yu roared. The saber light surged, and the saber carried a terrifying force as it chopped down on Lu Ming. Sizzle! Lu Ming's hands clamped down on the saber, and there were sizzling sounds and sparks. Unfortunately, he couldn't clamp down on it, and the saber was still chopping down on Lu Ming's head. Am I going to die here? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. No, I cannot die. Lu Ming roared in his heart. At this moment, rays of light suddenly shone from between Lu Ming's eyebrows, and there were also traces of lightning swimming around. This is the lightning cauldron. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Ever since Lu Ming obtained the lightning cauldron, it had been lying dormant in his sea of consciousness without any movement. Now, as Lu Ming faced a life or death situation, the thunder cauldron finally moved. At this moment, Lu Ming seemed to be able to communicate with the thunder furnace. A wisp of his mind seemed to be connected with the thunder furnace. He could control the thunder furnace at any time to launch a fatal strike. Kill! Without any hesitation, Lu Ming controlled the thunder cauldron and blasted it out. Whoa! In his sea of consciousness, the thunder cauldron let out a sound as if it was the beginning of the world. Then it flew out. At the same time, a terrifying suction force erupted from the thunder cauldron. At this moment, Lu Ming's true yuan and essence qi were all absorbed by the thunder cauldron. In addition to true yuan and essence qi, Lu Ming even felt that a part of his life essence qi had been absorbed by the thunder cauldron. Life essence qi represented lifespan. In other words, Lu Ming's lifespan had been absorbed by the thunder cauldron. Boom! After absorbing Lu Ming's true yuan, essence qi, and life essence qi, the thunder cauldron flew out from between Lu Ming's eyebrows. Clang! Xing Yu's battle saber was directly turned into ashes by the thunder cauldron. Xing Yu's body shook violently, and blood spurted out of his mouth as he was sent flying thousands of meters away. Whoa! The thunder cauldron flew into the sky and became as big as a mountain. Thunder rumbled like the might of the heavens. Then the thunder cauldron pressed down, and endless lightning enveloped all the sacred family disciples present. Run, run, run! Xing Yu roared as he desperately tried to escape. Run, run! Xing Kong and the others did the same as they desperately tried to escape. At this moment, their hearts were filled with fear. They never dreamed that such a terrifying thunder cauldron would suddenly appear in Lu Ming's body. They felt that they were ants in front of this thunder cauldron. No, they weren't even ants. They were dust. They were incomparably tiny. At this moment, they were extremely frightened. There was only one thought in their minds, and that was to escape. In the next moment, the thunder cauldron pressed down, and thick lightning bolts swam freely. Whoosh! After a breath, the thunder cauldron shrank rapidly and flew back to between Lu Ming's eyebrows, disappearing. At this moment, Lu Ming felt extremely weak. His body was empty, and there wasn't even a trace of true yuan. He had lost a lot of his essence qi, and his body was extremely weak. He couldn't even fly, and he collapsed to the ground. This thunder cauldron is too terrifying. Not only does it absorb true yuan and ordinary essence qi, but it also absorbs life essence qi. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. King realm cultivators had a lifespan of 1,000 years, but Lu Ming felt that he had lost 50 years of his lifespan. 50 years of his lifespan was too great a loss. A strand of my consciousness seems to be able to connect with the thunder cauldron. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He realized that a strand of his consciousness could connect with the thunder cauldron. In other words, as long as Lu Ming wanted to, he could control the thunder cauldron and launch an attack. But in the next moment, Lu Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. Controlling the thunder cauldron to attack? What a joke! Not to mention that one attack from the thunder cauldron could suck out all of his true yuan and essence qi. He would be completely weak, and he would be at the mercy of others. Also, losing 50 years of his lifespan at once. Even if Lu Ming was a king realm cultivator, he wouldn't be able to use it many times before his lifespan ran out and he died. This thunder cauldron can't be used unless it's absolutely necessary. However, it can be considered as one more life-saving method. Lu Ming thought to himself, Shua. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out, and Dandan flew back. Dandan was indeed magical. Just now, he was also covered by the thunder cauldron, but he was completely fine. Dandan, bring me to see if the people of the Shun clan are dead. Lu Ming said. At this moment, he was so weak that he couldn't even walk. Dandan's body emitted a faint light, and it trembled slightly. Then, it rapidly grew to the size of a water tank. Lu Ming lay on top of Dandan, and Dandan flew around with Lu Ming. Within a 10-mile radius, it was a mess. There were traces of being struck by lightning everywhere. On the messy ground, there were corpses lying on the ground. It seemed that the remaining youths of the Shun clan were all killed by the thunder cauldron. In one place, Lu Ming saw Shun Kong's corpse. Lu Ming suddenly saw a figure crawling forward at the edge of the area covered by the lightning. This figure was in tatters, and his hair was all cut off by the lightning. However, Lu Ming could still tell at a glance that it was Shen Yu. When the thunder cauldron flew out from Lu Ming's forehead, Shen Yu was sent flying a few thousand meters away. Then he fled frantically and almost escaped the area covered by the thunder cauldron. Chapter 5:28. Let's go! Lu Ming patted Dandan, and Dandan flew toward Shen Yu. Seeing Lu Ming flying towards him, Shen Yu was terrified. He kept screaming and crawling forward. Shen Yu, who's the dead one now? Lu Ming laid on Dandan's body and flew above Shen Yu, looking down at him coldly. Lu Ming, you've killed so many of my Shun family's people. You have to die too. Shen Yu roared. Hee, I don't know how many times your Shun family's people have said this. I'm tired of hearing it. Lu Ming smiled faintly, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Wait a minute, Lu Ming. I beg you, don't kill me. I can swear a blood oath, that I won't say a word about today's matter. I beg you, spare me this time. Seeing Lu Ming's killing intent, Xingyu was scared and began to beg for mercy. I still trust the dead more. Lu Ming was unmoved. No, don't, Lu Ming. I know there's a profound crystal mine in the scaled demon plane. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you the location of the mine. Xingyu shouted, Power Upanishad crystal lode. Lu Ming's heart shook and his eyes lit up. A profound crystal mine was different from a profound crystal pit. A profound crystal pit could only produce a few pieces, and at most, dozens of profound crystals. However, the veins of the Power Upanishad crystal were different. Even the smallest one could produce more than 100 Power Upanishad crystal, and this was the smallest. If there were more, there would be nothing left. This was a huge temptation for anyone. Tell me, where is the profound crystal lode? Lu Ming asked in a deep voice. As long as you promise me not to kill me, I'll tell you. Otherwise, even if I die, I won't tell you. Xingyu shouted. You! Lu Ming's eyes flickered as if he was hesitating. Xingyu was on tenterhooks, afraid that Lu Ming would kill him. Hesitating for a while, Lu Ming said, All right, I agree. I won't kill you. Tell me, where is the lode of the Power Upanishad crystal? Swear. I'll only believe you if you swear a blood oath. Xingyu called out. You talk too much. Since you don't believe me, then die. Lu Ming's killing intent exploded. Wait a minute, I'll talk. There's a blue jade medallion in my ring of holding that records the exact location of that crystal vein. Xingyu shouted loudly. Then he looked at Lu Ming expectantly and said, I've already said it. You only need to take out the jade tablet, and you'll know. Oh, Lu Ming nodded, then patted Dandan and said, Go ahead. Whoa. Dandan shook and smashed toward Xingyu's head. Ah, Lu Ming, you said you wouldn't kill me, Xingyu shouted, but before he could finish, Dandan smashed his head. His head exploded like a watermelon. I said I wouldn't kill you, but it doesn't mean that other things can't kill you. Lu Ming whispered, Dandan, can you take off those storage rings? Lu Ming patted Dandan again. Dandan's body shook, and a ray of light spread out. It rolled up Xingyu's storage ring, and Xingyu's storage ring flew into Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Then he did the same thing and took the storage rings of the other young men of the Shang family. Unfortunately, their blood essence was all gone because of the thunder cauldron, so he couldn't devour it. Then Lu Ming found the demon-suppressing spear in a pile of stones. Dandan, let's get out of here. Lu Ming said, Just now the commotion here was too great. It might have attracted other creatures over. Right now, Lu Ming was in such a weak state. Any scaled demon, Tian Divine Guard, or Zombie Guard would definitely kill him. Dandan immediately carried Lu Ming and flew away. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, Lu Ming found a remote place and entered the Temple of Paragon. In the Supreme Divine Palace, there were many bottles and jars filled with higher-grade pills, all of which were obtained from other warriors. Lu Ming picked up the first-grade healing elixir and swallowed the entire bottle of elixir in one gulp. There was a total of 9 elixirs. He began to heal himself. Lu Ming's body was at the peak of the 6th grade, and he was slowly recovering. The medicinal power spread throughout his body, greatly increasing his recovery speed. Lu Ming's muscles squirmed slowly. The muscles on the wound on his chest squirmed, and new muscles slowly grew, covering the wound and finally covering his heart. Otherwise, one would be able to see his beating heart from the outside. It was terrifying. After the medicinal power of the healing pills was used up, Lu Ming took out another bottle and swallowed it. An hour later, Lu Ming let out a long breath. His injuries were finally stabilized. This time it was really dangerous. Lu Ming sighed. To be honest, this time it was out of his expectations. Originally, he wanted to wait until he had obtained more top-grade spiritual crystals and reached the 4th level of the Martial King realm before killing Xingyu. He didn't expect to be ambushed by Xingyu. Most importantly, Xingyu happened to be carrying a net-like mystical weapon, which perfectly countered the dandan, causing the dandan to lose its effect. Otherwise, with the dandan around, Lu Ming would be able to break through the encirclement. Therefore, Lu Ming was placed in a dangerous situation like never before, and was almost slashed in half by Shen Yu's saber. If it weren't for the lightning cauldron, he would have died. Lu Ming guessed that the lightning cauldron was treating him as a temporary shelter. It didn't want him to die, which was why it gave Lu Ming a hand at the crucial moment. I should be more careful in the future. I shouldn't be careless, and shouldn't underestimate others. Lu Ming thought to himself. Following this, he began to circulate the true skill of the battle dragon to recover. Currently, Lu Ming's body was completely empty, without a single trace of true qi. The vortex in his dantian had completely stopped spinning. Lu Ming continued to execute the true skill of the battle dragon, but the vortex still remained motionless. However, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to execute the true skill of the battle dragon. An hour later, under Lu Ming's persistent efforts, the vortex finally moved and began to spin slowly. Slowly, a trace of true qi was born from the vortex, flowing through Lu Ming's body along his meridians. Nice. With a trace of true qi, things would be easier. Immediately, Lu Ming took out a pile of supreme spiritual crystals and began to absorb their qi to speed up his recovery. In this way, Lu Ming recovered his true qi while healing his injuries. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. 3 days later, Lu Ming had recovered to his peak condition. The injuries on his body had also fully recovered. Of course, the 50 years of life that he had lost could not be recovered. Lu Ming sat cross-legged, playing with a blue jade token in his hand, deep in thought. This jade token was the one that Shen Yu had mentioned, the one that recorded the location of the profound crystal vein. Lu Ming had already taken a look at it earlier. There was indeed a map inside, and the location of the profound crystal vein was marked. However, Lu Ming did not rush over immediately. Is Shen Yu really so kind as to tell me the location of the profound crystal vein? Even if it's for the sake of my life, I have to be careful of any traps. Chapter 5:29. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Could it be a trap? However, he was unwilling to give up just like that. It was a load of Power Upanishad crystal, which contained at least 100 pieces of Power Upanishad crystals. 100 Ultimacy crystals were only worth a little more than 100,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Although it was not very valuable, the value of Ultimacy crystals could not be measured by price. In the market, even if you had 100,000 supreme spiritual crystals, you might not be able to buy 100 Ultimacy crystals. There was a price, but no market. Moreover, there was a great possibility that there would be middle-grade Ultimacy crystals in the Ultimacy crystal load. Lu Ming did not want to miss this opportunity. Forget it. I should improve my cultivation first. When I reach the 4th level of the Martial King realm and enter the Lesser King realm, there won't be many people in the Lesser King realm who can kill me. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Then he took out the storage rings of the 17 young men of the sacred family, arranged the supreme spiritual crystals in them, and counted them. 820,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. In total, there were 820,000 supreme spiritual crystals in the storage rings of the 17 young men of the sacred family. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It was the first time that he had so many supreme spiritual crystals. Saint Jades alone had contributed 210,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Lu Ming put away the supreme spiritual crystals happily. Lu Ming did not count the other things for the time being. Good. Now, let's break through to the 4th level of the Martial King realm. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With a wave of his hand, 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals appeared. Bang, bang, bang. 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals all exploded. The rich spiritual chi of heaven and earth was all devoured by the 9 dragons' bloodline. The endless spiritual chi turned into genuine essence. Lu Ming began to break through to the 4th level of the Martial King realm. There was a watershed between the 3rd level of the Martial King realm and the 4th level of the Martial King realm. Breaking through would greatly improve one's strength, but it was also very difficult. 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals were not enough, so Lu Ming took out another 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals. In this way, 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals followed by 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Lu Ming had devoured 250,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Boom! Boom! At this time, Lu Ming's body constantly emitted rumbling sounds. The cyclone in his dantian crazily spun. His rich and condensed true essence was like a great river, roiling and rumbling. 2 hours later, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes. 2 spear lights shot out from his eyes. 4th layer Martial King realm, I've finally broken through. Lu Ming came out. With a thought, he left the Temple of Paragon and appeared on a mountain peak. Boom! Lu Ming revolved his true essence and suddenly stamped his foot. His feet, which were covered with zhenyuan, stepped on the mountain peak. The mountain peak seemed to have been struck by millions of pounds of heavy objects. It emitted a violent rumbling sound and then suddenly exploded. Gravel flew everywhere, and dust filled the air. It was as if doomsday had arrived. With a single step, a 1,000-meter-tall mountain shattered. It was a horrifying sight. Lu Ming floated in the air, carefully feeling the true essence in his body. 4th layer Martial King realm is indeed powerful. The strength of my true yuan is 7 times stronger than that of the 3rd layer Martial King realm. However, my battle strength did not increase that much. Lu Ming muttered. Normally, a 4th layer Martial King realm, Lesser Success King realm, cultivator's battle strength was 2 levels stronger than a 3rd layer Martial King realm cultivator. For example, Sheng Jiang, who was at the peak of the 4th layer Martial King realm, was 2 levels stronger than a 3rd layer Martial King realm cultivator. However, Lu Ming's battle strength did not increase by 2 levels after breaking through to the 4th layer Martial King realm. 4th layer Martial King realm cultivators were so strong because their true essence was much more condensed and abundant, and also because of their intent realm. A Lesser Success King realm cultivator's intent realm of the heavens and earth had entered the 1st layer Lesser Success King realm, which greatly increased their battle strength. However, Lu Ming's intent realm had already entered the 1st layer Lesser Success King realm. Now that he had reached the 4th layer Martial King realm, his intent realm did not increase. Therefore, Lu Ming's battle strength did not increase by 2 levels, but more than 1. Lu Ming estimated that if he fought with his full strength, he would not be weaker than an early stage 6th layer Martial King realm cultivator, facing a peak 6th layer Martial King realm cultivator. It should not be a problem for him to escape. When my fire intent is condensed into the intent rune, my battle strength will increase significantly. Lu Ming pondered. There are still 570,000 spiritual crystals left. I'll keep them for now. I'll need them for a lot of things after I get out of here. Now, let's go check out the Ultimacy crystal vein. With a flicker, Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and flew toward the location marked on the jade badge at an extremely fast speed. After flying for about 1,000,000 miles, he was surrounded by boundless mountains where many tribes of scaled demons resided. However, the tribes of scaled demons here were all large tribes with more than 10,000 people. There were many powerful cultivators among them. Lu Ming did not dare to target such a large tribe of scaled demons by himself. If a scaled demon of the Greater Success King realm appeared, he would be dead for sure. It's around here. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. According to the mark on the map, It should be around here. Lu Ming flew into the sky and hid in a cloud. He restrained his aura and merged with the cloud. Then his true yuan gushed out and the cloud slowly flew forward. Lu Ming scanned the area below. After a while, there it is! Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Among the mountains below, there was a small mountain peak that was very strange. The other mountain peaks were covered in lush green grass and trees. However, all the plants on this small mountain peak were fiery red, as if the entire mountain was wrapped in flames. This small mountain peak was the ultimacy crystal vein that Shengyu had mentioned. Lu Ming did not rush out immediately. Instead, he continued to hide in the cloud and float while observing the surroundings. After a while, he found something. On a nearby mountain peak, Lu Ming saw a figure flash by. Then, Lu Ming carefully sensed the aura of a large number of martial artists on the surrounding mountains. There were at least 100 of them. These people had restrained their aura. If not for Lu Ming carefully sensing, he would not have been able to sense them. There is indeed a trap. These people are most likely from the Sheng family. That Shengyu did not have good intentions. He tricked me into coming here. If I rush out like this, I will definitely be blasted to pieces. However, these people from the Sheng family are lying in ambush on the surrounding mountains. What are they trying to do? Who are they waiting for? Lu Ming's eyes flickered as various thoughts flashed through his mind. Immediately, he restrained his aura and tried his best not to let out a trace of it to avoid being discovered by the people from the Sheng family. Lu Ming controlled the cloud and circled it in the sky of this area, waiting for it to arrive. On one of the mountain peaks, under an ancient tree, there were several young figures sitting cross-legged. What the hell? Why is that guy Shengyu not here yet? It's already past the appointed time. One of the tall young men said in a bad mood, I have received news that guy is chasing after a guy called Lu Ming. He is trying to make a contribution in front of the young master of Star Palace. Another young man with a pale face sneered. That guy Shengyu only thinks about flattering the young master of Star Palace every day. Forget it. It doesn't matter if he comes or not. The tall young man snorted. Chapter 530. Time flew by quickly, and a day passed in the blink of an eye. There was no movement at all. When night fell on the second day, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from afar. That's the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. There were at least 50 coffins flying over from afar. It seems like the Sheng family is here to ambush the Heavenly Corpse sect. Interesting. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Swoosh! Swoosh! More than 50 coffins flew towards the vein of profound sense crystals. In the next moment, they were all suspended above the profound crystal vein. Ka! A bush opened, and several zombie guards in black robes walked out. Hee, it seems like the news is correct. There is indeed a profound crystal vein here. A zombie guard let out a cold laugh. Let's start digging. Another zombie guard said. Right at this moment, a sudden change occurred. Inscriptions emerged around the load of Power Upanishad crystal, sparkling with dazzling light. In the blink of an eye, a huge light shield was formed, enveloping the Heavenly Corpse sect. Not good, it's an inscription array. Retreat! A zombie guard shouted, controlling the refined corpse to rush out. Swoosh! Swoosh! Light swords suddenly appeared on the light shield, stabbing toward the zombie guards and refined corpses. Boom! Boom! With a loud explosion, the zombie guards and refined corpses were sent flying. Swoosh! 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 At this moment, figures rushed out from the surrounding forest. More than 100 figures surrounded the people of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Tian Divine Guards! Damn it, are you from the Sheng family? We've been tricked. A zombie guard shouted. It's too late to know now. Trash of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Be obedient and become my reward. The tall youth from the Sheng family laughed. Obviously, they were the leaders of the Shang family. Charge! Charge out! A zombie guard yelled. Ka! More than 50 refined corpses appeared from the 50 coffins. Iron chains flew across the sky, attacking the light shield in all directions. Control the array and kill the trash of the Heavenly Corpse sect, the pale-faced young man from the Saint clan ordered. Immediately, 36 people flew to all directions of the inscription array. Their true essence gushed out as they controlled the inscription array to attack. As the inscriptions fought, the light became even more dazzling. Streaks of sword chi formed and pierced toward the Heavenly Corpse sect and the many refined corpses. Boom! Boom! For a time, the rumbling sounds continued. Something's wrong. At this moment, the young man with a slightly pale face spoke. What's wrong? The tall young man asked. There's something wrong with the number of corpse guards. There are only over 20 corpse guards in the formation. Although there are 50 coffins, only one refined corpse appeared in each coffin. The pale-faced young man frowned. Then his eyes lit up and he shouted, "Oh no! Only a part of the Heavenly Corpse sect's people went in." What? The tall young man was taken aback. Hee, Sacred Eagle, your brain is still so nimble. At this moment, a sinister laugh suddenly came from the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sound of air breaking came from all directions. Corpse guards in black robes appeared one by one. There were at least 30 corpse guards in all directions. Each corpse guard was followed by 2 or even 3 refined corpses. They surrounded the Shang family's people in the middle. The Shang family's people turned pale. He. A corpse guard with a black mole between his eyebrows sneered. He looked at the Shang family's people and said, "When I received the news, I felt that it was a little strange. Just in case, I asked a part of us to go in first. Sure enough, this is a trap set by the Shang family. It won't be that easy to kill us." So what if you know? A part of you is trapped in the formation. If you lose a part of your people, you will still die. The pale-faced young man, Sacred Eagle, said coldly. Is that so? Today it's you who will die. Kill. The corpse guard with a mole between his eyebrows roared. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness and murderous intent. Kill. Kill. The corpse guards roared. The refined corpses waved their iron chains and charged toward the Shang family's people. Kill. Sacred Eagle also roared. His body emitted a violent aura. He shook his arms and charged toward the corpse guard with a mole between his eyebrows like a goshawk. He displayed his powerful strength. His cultivation was at the mid-stage of LV6 Martial King Realm. Kill. The corpse guard with a mole between his eyebrows roared. Beside him, 2 refined corpses charged toward Sacred Eagle. These 2 refined corpses were at the mid-stage of LV6 Martial King Realm. At the same time, the young man with a mole between his eyebrows also charged toward Sacred Eagle. His strength was also at the mid-stage of LV6 Martial King Realm. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, Sacred Eagle fought against 2 refined corpses and a corpse guard at the same level. He was not at a disadvantage. In terms of combat strength, the Shang family's geniuses had the upper hand. The Heavenly Corpse sect's advantage was their refined corpses. They had a large number of refined corpses and were invulnerable. Boom! Boom! Explosions rang out continuously as the 2 sides engaged in an intense battle. The corpse guards in the inscription formation also controlled the refined corpses to attack the inscription formation. However, the inscription formation was very sturdy and could not be broken in a short time. I didn't expect to see such a big battle. Lu Ming withdrew his aura and stood still, watching quietly. Bang! Bang! At this moment, the ground around the profound crystal mine began to undulate. Black, demonic beasts that looked like black leopards crawled out from the ground. These demonic beasts waved their claws, causing the ground to crack. Oh no, these demonic corpses are going to destroy the formation base. Sacred Eagle shouted, "Attack those demonic corpses!" The tall young man from the Sheng family shouted. The 36 young men from the Sheng family who were controlling the inscription formation also attacked the demonic corpses. However, as part of the formation base was destroyed, the power of the inscription formation was greatly weakened. In the inscription formation, the refined corpses attacked even more crazily. The inscription formation shook violently as if it would collapse at any time. "Damn it!" Sacred Eagle roared. "Die!" The corpse guard with a mole between his eyebrows controlled the refined corpses to attack Sacred Eagle. 2 corpse guards blocked in front of him and attacked without fear of death. Sacred Eagle's attacks landed on the refined corpses and only left slight wounds. As for the corpse guards, they hid behind the corpses and attacked. At this moment, someone screamed. Someone from the Sheng family was killed. "Attack those corpse guards! Don't fight with the refined corpses!" Sacred Eagle shouted. Boom! At this moment, the inscription formation below completely collapsed. The corpse guards and refined corpses in the inscription formation rushed out crazily and joined the battle. For a moment, the Sheng family was completely at a disadvantage. From time to time, experts from the Sheng family were killed. However, the Heavenly Corpse sect did not have it easy either. Chapter 531. Once the zombie guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect died, the refined corpses he controlled would become useless. Therefore, the people of the Sheng family attacked the zombie guards with all their might. Kill! 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 Both sides were in a frenzy. Energy exploded. Iron chains flew across the sky, and blood filled the air. People were constantly killed and fell to the ground. But overall, the people of the Sheng family were completely at a disadvantage. Soon, dozens of people were killed. The Sheng family only had a little over 100 people. Although the Heavenly Corpse sect only had a little over 50 zombie guards, each zombie guard had 2 to 3 refined corpses. In total, there were close to 200 of them. Kill! Sheng Ying was wearing a pair of spirit weapon gloves. His claws were shocking, and he kept slashing out as if he could tear everything apart. But the 2 refined corpses kept him busy. Behind him, the zombie guard with a mole between his eyebrows kept launching sneak attacks. Damn it! Sheng Ying's eyes were red. He looked up to the sky and roared. He ignored the iron chains that were attacking him and rushed over. Puchi! A chain pierced through his shoulder. Sheng Ying roared and took this opportunity to rush over. He finally avoided the 2 refined corpses and rushed toward the zombie guard with a mole between his eyebrows. Die! Sheng Ying's body was as fast as lightning. His claws pierced through the void and grabbed at the zombie guard's heart. The zombie guard with a mole between his eyebrows was shocked. He slashed out with his saber, trying his best to block Sheng Ying's attack. As long as he could block one of Sheng Ying's attacks, the 2 refined corpses would arrive. But the combat strength of zombie guards wasn't high to begin with. How could they compare to a genius like Sheng Ying? The zombie guard with a mole between his eyebrows tried his best, but he still couldn't block Sheng Ying's attack. Blood splattered everywhere. One of his arms was torn off by Sheng Ying. At this moment, the 2 refined corpses arrived. Kill, kill, kill him! The zombie guard with a mole between his eyebrows roared. The 2 zombie guards charged towards the Sacred Eagle without fear of death. Sheng Ying's shoulder had been pierced through by the iron chain, so his strength was weakened. He could only try his best to block. At this moment, a shocking scream was heard. Sheng Chong! Sheng Ying roared. This time, there were a total of 3 people in the Sheng family who had reached the 6th layer Martial King realm. Sheng Ying, the tall youth, and Sheng Chong. However, the Heavenly Corpse sect also had 3 zombie guards who had reached the 6th layer Martial King realm and 7 refined corpses. At this moment, Sheng Chong was besieged by 3 refined corpses of LV6 Martial King realm. In the end, he was defeated and pierced through by the iron chains. With the death of a sixth-layer Martial King, the morale of the Shang family members was greatly reduced. More and more people were killed. From start to finish, more than 50 people had died on the spot. Retreat, retreat! Sheng Ying roared. If this went on, the entire Sheng family would be annihilated. You want to leave? Not so easy. The zombie guard with the mole on its forehead was furious. The zombie guards continued to control the refined corpses to kill the members of the Shang family. As for the remaining 50-plus members of the Shang family, they gathered together and rushed towards a single direction. The members of the Shang family gathered together and were determined to retreat. The people of the Heavenly Corpse sect couldn't stop them. After leaving behind a few more corpses, they successfully broke out of the encirclement and sped off into the distance. Scum of the Heavenly Corpse sect, I, Sacred Eagle, will remember this debt. The voice came, but the person had already disappeared. Humph, you're lucky to escape fast. The eyes of the zombie guard with the mole on its forehead were full of fire. He continued, quickly collect the corpses of the Shang family and bring them back to refine them into refined corpses. Also, hurry up and dig out the profound crystals in this mountain. The young man with the mole on his forehead ordered loudly. When the members of the Shang family returned, they would definitely send reinforcements. Now they had to hurry up. The remaining zombie guards quickly took action. The zombie guard with the mole on his forehead stood in the air and operated his cultivation method to heal his injuries. His arm had just been torn off by Sheng Ying, and his vitality was greatly damaged. He didn't even notice that a cloud was slowly floating above his head. Lu Ming was hiding in the cloud. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. Yes, he was going to make a move. Among these zombie guards, only a few of the sixth-layer Martial King were dangerous to him. As long as he killed a few of the sixth-layer Martial King zombie guards, the rest of the zombie guards were nothing to be afraid of. In particular, there was such a good opportunity now. How could Lu Ming miss it? Silently, the demon-suppressing spear appeared in his hand. The next moment, Extreme Tao Strike. Lu Ming turned into a ray of spear light and stabbed toward the zombie guard with the mole on his forehead from the cloud. His speed was terrifyingly fast. Not good. The zombie guard with the mole on his forehead suddenly panicked, but it was too late. Pucci, the head of the zombie guard with the mole on his forehead, directly exploded. He was killed by Lu Ming in one move. Not good. Enemy attack. The other zombie guards reacted and roared in anger. They controlled the refined corpses and rushed toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and rushed into the sky. With a wave of his hand, thunder and lightning gathered in the sky. Die for me! Lu Ming struck his palm downward, and the thunderbolts in the sky struck the zombie guards below. Whether it was the zombie guards or the refined corpses, they were all very afraid of thunder and lightning. Sizzle! The zombie guards below the low-level Martial King realm were struck by the thunder and screamed miserably. A large amount of corpse chi was released from their bodies, and they fell to the ground, killed. As for the zombie guards above the low-level Martial King realm, although they were not killed, they were injured to varying degrees. Kill! Lu Ming held the long spear and charged into the group of zombie guards. He deliberately avoided the 2 zombie guards and their refined corpses and focused on the zombie guards of the 4th and 5th level Martial King realm. Puff! Puff! Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and his speed was too fast. He easily avoided the refined corpses and charged toward the zombie guards. This made the refined corpses of the zombie guards useless. Damn it, damn it! The 2 zombie guards of the 6th level Martial King realm were furious. Bastards of the Heavenly Corpse sect, die. Lu Ming's eyes were full of killing intent. He thought of Elder Zhuang and the 49 people who came with him from the east. He had sworn to avenge them. Whoosh! Whoosh! The spear light pierced out and killed 2 more people. Back off, we'll kill him. A zombie guard of the 6th level Martial King realm yelled. The 2 zombie guards of the 6th level Martial King realm controlled 5 refined corpses and surrounded Lu Ming. They waved the iron chains and tried to block Lu Ming's way of retreat. The other 3 zombie guards of the low-level Martial King realm retreated quickly. As for the zombie guards below the low-level Martial King realm, they were all dead. In the battle with the Shang family, the Heavenly Corpse sect only lost a dozen zombie guards. There were still more than 30 people left. But now, in the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had killed only 5 of them. Lu Ming was their nemesis. The main reason was that the zombie guard with the mole in between his eyebrows had been killed by Lu Ming in one fell swoop. No one could restrain Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming was able to kill so many people as if he was cutting melons and vegetables. I'll kill you now. Lu Ming stared at the 2 zombie guards of the 6th level Martial King realm. He swept out the long spear and broke the iron chains around him. Dandan, smash! In the next moment, Lu Ming patted Dandan. Whoosh! Chapter 532. Bang! That zombie guard was accurately hit in the face by Dandan. Instantly, that pale face was completely deformed and twisted together. The zombie guard was unable to focus in such a miserable state. The 2 refined corpses paused for a moment like 2 pieces of wood. Just this one time was enough. Lu Ming's figure dashed past and dashed toward the zombie guard. Ah! The zombie guard screamed as it sensed danger approaching. It tried to control the refined corpses to help while retreating at the same time. However, it was too late. Puff! Lu Ming's spear penetrated the zombie guard's heart. An early-stage 6th layer Martial King zombie guard was dead. As soon as it died, the 2 refined corpses stopped in the air. The remaining 6th layer Martial King zombie guard wanted to help, but it quickly retreated upon seeing this. He controlled the 3 zombie guards to surround him tightly. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, but he did not chase after it. Zombie guards were difficult to kill once they controlled the refined corpses to defend themselves. Only like just now, with the momentum of a thunderbolt and catching them off guard, could they easily kill those corpse guards. The 4 zombie guards fled with the 9 refined corpses, disappearing in the blink of an eye. The final winner of this battle was Lu Ming. Lu Ming was only able to do this because he had broken through to the lesser Success King realm. It was impossible for him to do this before. Seal the souls of the zombie guards first. Lu Ming waved his hand, and dozens of soul-sealing crystals appeared. Lu Ming controlled them with his true yuan and flew toward the corpses of the zombie guards. Then, Lu Ming channeled his true yuan into the soul-sealing crystals. The soul-sealing crystals glowed and sealed the souls of the zombie guards in them. After that, Lu Ming waved his hand again, and the soul-sealing crystals flew back to Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The souls of the zombie guards in the soul-sealing crystals alone would be a great reward. Then Lu Ming's figure flickered as he took the storage rings of the Shang family and the zombie guards. Of course, he also devoured the blood essence of the members of the Shang family. There are so many storage rings. How many spirit crystals are there? Lu Ming's heart was burning with passion. There was a flash of excitement in his eyes. However, now wasn't the time to think about this. The profound crystal lode hadn't been excavated yet. Lu Ming didn't have much time left. Regardless of whether it was the Shang family or the Heavenly Corpse sect, there was a possibility that they would bring people back. Immediately, Lu Ming took out a huge battle axe and chopped down at the small mountain. Bang! Gravel flew everywhere, and a large piece of the small mountain peak was chopped off. This was a profound crystal lode, so the ground here was exceptionally hard. If it were an ordinary mountain, Lu Ming's axe could have easily chopped it in half. But now that Lu Ming's cultivation had improved greatly, The digging was also very fast. Lu Ming brandished his battle axe, constantly chopping down. Soon, large chunks of stone were sent flying. The world was filled with an intense concept of fire. Concept of fire! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He was currently lacking profound crystals of fire attribute. If he could find a piece of fire attribute, mid-grade, profound crystal, his concept of fire would be able to break through. One piece. Suddenly, Lu Ming saw a piece of fiery, red, profound crystal embedded in the rock below. Lu Ming put away the fire attribute, profound, meaning crystal, happily, and continued to dig with all his might. Next, more and more profound crystals were dug out. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 10 pieces, 20 pieces. The profound crystal lode was indeed worthy of being called a lode. There were so many profound crystals that the profound crystal pit couldn't compare to. 2 hours later, the entire mountain peak had disappeared, and Lu Ming had already dug out 300 profound crystals. Yes, a total of 300 fire attribute profound crystals. Rich, Lu Ming felt rich. However, he still hadn't found any mid-grade profound crystals, which was Lu Ming's goal. Lu Ming continued to dig, digging a few meters down the entire mountain peak. However, he still did not find anything. He did not even see a single low-grade profound crystal. Is there really nothing? It can't be, right? Although this profound crystal lode is very small, it should be able to condense mid-grade profound crystals, right? Lu Ming was unwilling to give up and continued to dig. Dang! Suddenly, Lu Ming's battle axe chopped down on a hard rock, but it didn't split. This is... Lu Ming's eyes brightened. Below, a head-sized rock was revealed. This rock's color was somewhat different from the other rocks. It was deeper and more fiery red. Lu Ming immediately thought of the earth attribute, mid-grade, profound crystal. Didn't he also find it in a special rock? Lu Ming's eyes brightened. He raised his battle axe, and Zhen Yuan burst out, chopping down on this rock. Dang! Cracks appeared on this rock. Immediately, Lu Ming switched to the back of his axe and struck the rock. Crack, crack! Cracks appeared on the rock, like a spider web covering the entire rock. More and more cracks appeared, and finally, the entire rock cracked open. An incomparably intense fire heaven and earth concept spread out. A fiery red crystal lay quietly in the middle of the rock. It was sparkling, translucent, and extremely dazzling. A mid-grade fire attribute, profound crystal. Lu Ming revealed an excited expression. Zhen Yuan swept out, and this profound crystal flew into his hand. He then put it away in a jade box. This time's harvest is not bad, not bad. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. He was very satisfied. Now, let's find a place to condense the fire concept rune, and then return to Profound Heaven City to submit the mission. Lu Ming smiled faintly, and then swept his gaze over. With a wave of his hand, the power of thunder spread out, turning those motionless, refined corpses into charcoal. Then Lu Ming soared into the sky and left. 1,000,000 miles away, Lu Ming entered the Temple of Paragon and sat down cross-legged. Beside him was the Enlightenment Ancient Tree's bud. During this period, the clear spring water in the jade box had decreased by a lot, and only a small layer was left. The Enlightenment Ancient Tree's bud was even more lustrous, and the aura it emitted was even more mysterious. As for the other branch, there was no movement. Lu Ming reckoned that the branch had most likely withered completely. It was impossible for it to live anymore. Moreover, there was a rumor that the same Enlightenment Ancient Tree could only exist in the world. It was impossible for 2 identical Enlightenment Ancient Trees to exist. This was the law of heaven and earth. Looks like I have to find some spiritual liquid after I go out. Otherwise, the Enlightenment Ancient Tree won't be able to grow. It'll be good if it doesn't wither. Lu Ming thought. Then his hand moved, and the mid-grade fire attribute, profound crystal, appeared in his hand. A mid-grade profound crystal with enlightenment ancient tree should be able to condense successfully. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he squeezed hard. Kacha! The mid-grade profound crystal exploded, and an extremely strong fire concept of heaven and earth filled the area. Lu Ming could even see dense strands of concept floating around him. Lu Ming immediately closed his eyes and focused on comprehending. Chapter 533. On the side, the Enlightenment Ancient Tree emitted a mysterious aura that pushed Lu Ming's state to its peak. His mind was empty and his mind was clear. His comprehension speed was 10 times faster than usual. The faster he comprehended, the more intent threads he could absorb. Lu Ming felt that his comprehension of fire intent had reached a limit. Condense! With a low shout, a strong intent of fire exploded from his body, making Lu Ming look like a burning man. In the next moment, the intent of fire converged in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness and started to condense crazily. At this moment, the lightning rune and wind rune in his sea of consciousness vibrated slightly, emitting a force that prevented Lu Ming from condensing the intent of fire rune. Nothing can stop me. Condense! Lu Ming roared. With the help of the mid-grade profound crystal and enlightenment ancient tree, the intent of fire rune started to condense in his sea of consciousness with an unstoppable force. After a while, an inch-long intent rune turned fiery red and sparkled, floating in his sea of consciousness. The intent of fire rune was formed. However, it didn't stop. The intent of heaven and earth contained within the mid-grade profound crystal was too dense and intense. The price of a medium-grade profound crystal was 1,000 times higher than that of a low-grade one. It was easy to see the difference between the two. At this moment, there were still many intent threads being absorbed by Lu Ming. The intent of fire rune in his sea of consciousness was slowly growing. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches. When the fire attribute mid-grade profound crystal was completely consumed, Lu Ming's intent of fire rune actually reached 2 inches in length. First level intent, small success. Lu Ming had actually cultivated the concept of fire to the level of initial success in one go. This was all thanks to the Enlightenment Ancient Tree. If it were someone else, even if they had a mid-grade profound crystal, they wouldn't have such an effect. First level small success fire intent. Let's go see its effects. Lu Ming revealed a look of anticipation. After leaving the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming flew into the sky. Whoa! As soon as the intent of fire was displayed, endless flames appeared in the sky and crazily gathered in Lu Ming's palm. A ball of fire appeared in Lu Ming's palm. It was so hot that it distorted the space around it. With a wave of his hand, the fireball flew out and exploded. Blazing flames engulfed everything within a radius of 10 li. It was as if a sun had exploded. Lu Ming nodded in satisfaction. Now that the 3 intents have condensed into intent runes, how strong will the fusion of the 3 intents be? Thinking up to this point, Lu Ming's heart was burning. The demon-suppressing spear appeared in his hand and piercing the spear and piercing towards a 1,000-meter tall mountain. The 3 intents, the intent of the spear, pierced the mountain poo. Lu Ming only heard a soft sound. Then he saw that there was a big hole on the mountainside of the 10,000 feet mountain peak that was penetrating from the front to the back. The 1,000-meter tall mountain was pierced through by Lu Ming's casual spear. Lu Ming didn't use any true yuan in this spear. It was purely based on intent. Strong, too strong. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming realized that the fusion of the 3 intents was terrifyingly strong. Lu Ming estimated that it was even stronger than cultivating a single intent to the first level large success stage. It was close to the first level perfection stage. In other words, The pure power of Lu Ming's current concept was already slightly stronger than that of an ordinary phenomenal king. It seems that the fusion of the three intents is indeed terrifying. If I'm not wrong, the fusion of two first-level entry intents is comparable to a first-level small success stage, and the fusion of three first-level entry intents is comparable to a first-level large success stage. As for me, I already have two intents at the first-level small success stage. If I fuse the three intents together, it will be comparable to a first-level small success stage. When my wind intent stage breaks through to the first-level small success stage, the fusion of the three intents will be comparable to a first-level small success stage. Lu Ming speculated in his mind. With the breakthrough of the fire intent stage, Lu Ming's battle strength had doubled. Now, Lu Ming was confident that he could kill a martial artist at the early stage of the 6th level of the martial king realm in one move without using the extreme move. Even if he was facing a peak 6th level martial king realm warrior, Lu Ming could easily defeat and kill him. Of course, those peerless geniuses who could fight above their level were another matter. Now, Lu Ming was not afraid of anyone below the king realm. Now, let's go back to Tianjin City. Whoosh! With a flash, he flew toward the exit of the scaled demon plane. Half a day later, Lu Ming returned to the high wall and walked toward the exit. 2 days later, Lu Ming returned to Tianjin City. Then Lu Ming came to the third area and walked into a huge mansion. Young master, do you want to rent a house? It costs 100 extreme, spiritual crystals a day. An old man asked. I'll rent it for a month. Lu Ming nodded and took out 3,000 extreme spiritual crystals and gave them to the old man. Okay. With a smile on his face, the elder gave Lu Ming a jade token. Lu Ming took the jade badge and walked into the room according to the number on it. After closing the door, Lu Ming sat down with his legs crossed. As expected of a room that costs 100 extreme spiritual crystals, the intense stage of the heavens and earth is extremely strong, Lu Ming thought as he sensed the environment. He found that although the intense stage of the heavens and earth here was not as strong as the Tao Enlightenment Palace in the east, it was not too far off. Furthermore, the spiritual qi here was extremely rich, a few times richer than the East Sky courtyard where he lived. Lu Ming exclaimed in his mind. The experts of the ancient times were indeed extraordinary. They were able to build a sacred place for cultivation in this city. How terrifying! Now let's count them first. Lu Ming waved his hand and more than 100 storage rings appeared on the ground. They were all left behind by the geniuses of the Shang family and the corpse guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming was already quite experienced in counting the spoils of war and was very interested in it. He immediately counted them one by one. Top-grade spirit crystals, spirit grass and spirit flowers, weapon refining materials and spirit weapons and cultivation method manuals were all placed in one piece. Also, there's a soul sealing crystal. Finally, all the extreme spiritual crystals were counted. 66 million extreme spiritual crystals. A total of 66 million extreme spiritual crystals. Lu Ming sucked in a breath of cold air and was overjoyed. 66 million extreme spiritual crystals. Even a king in the greater success stage did not have so much wealth. It was probably comparable to the wealth of a pinnacle king. In addition, various materials, spiritual weapons, and spiritual grass were also worth a lot of extreme spiritual crystals. It was a pity that Lu Ming did not find a suitable long spear among the spirit weapons. Now, ordinary level 5 spears were no longer suitable for Lu Ming. Lu Ming wanted to find an upper level 5 spear to use first, but unfortunately he did not have one. There were very few people who used spears. If I have time, I'll buy one. Lu Ming thought and then looked at the pile of soul-sealing crystals. There were more than 50 soul-sealing crystals here. They were Lu Ming's own. Chapter 534. There were a total of 110 pieces, all of which were sealed with the souls of the heavenly corpse guards. Among them there were 55 pieces of LV-1 Marshal King Realm, 30 pieces of LV-2 Marshal King Realm, 19 pieces of LV-3 Marshal King Realm, 10 pieces of LV-4 Marshal King Realm, 3 pieces of LV-5 Marshal King Realm, 2 pieces of LV-6 Marshal King Realm, 2,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-1 Marshal King Realm, 5,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-2 Marshal King Realm, 10,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-3 Marshal King Realm, 20,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-4 Marshal King Realm, 50,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-5 Marshal King Realm, 100,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals for LV-6 Marshal King Realm. In total, the soul-sealing crystals were worth 800,000 pieces of Supreme Spiritual Crystals. It was a big harvest, an absolutely big harvest. This time, Lu Ming's gains added up to more than 10 million Supreme-grade spirit crystals. This was a Supreme-grade spiritual crystal, not a low-grade one. This was not counting the power Upanishad crystals. He was rich. This time Lu Ming was really rich. It's a pity that my comprehension of the essence realm of heaven and earth is not deep enough. Otherwise, with so many resources, my cultivation would be greatly improved. Lu Ming felt it was a pity. Next, I need to focus on comprehending the essence realm of heaven and earth, the 3 skills of the dragon god, and the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps. Lu Ming decided on the direction of his cultivation. The 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps was a god-level martial skill with both offensive and movement power. Lu Ming would not slack off and would comprehend it when he had time. As for the 3 skills of the dragon god, as Lu Ming's main offensive means, Lu Ming would not slack off. Now, I'd better go to the mission hall and hand in the mission. Lu Ming tidied up and walked to the mission hall. The mission hall was still crowded with people coming and going. Lu Ming found that most people came to the Scale Demon Plane. Lu Ming was about to walk to the counter for the Scale Demon Plane mission when a cold shout was heard. "Lu Ming, it's you!" Lu Ming was taken aback. He turned around and his eyes turned cold. 3 figures walked towards Lu Ming. The person leading the group was an old man. Sheng Yao was the Peak King who had gone to the Eastern Branch Palace. Behind Sheng Yao were 2 young men. One of them was Sheng Wushuang, and the other looked to be in his late 20s. Lu Ming did not recognize him. The voice just now had come from Sheng Wushuang. "Lu Ming, you're still alive?" When Sheng Yao saw Lu Ming, there was a flash of disbelief in his eyes. Sheng Yao knew that Sheng Yu and the others wanted to kill Lu Ming in the Scaled Demon Plane. Originally, he thought that Lu Ming was already dead by now. Now Lu Ming actually appeared in front of him, lively and lively. One could imagine the shock in his heart. Could it be that this little bastard didn't go to the Scaled Demon Plane? Or maybe Sheng Yu and the others didn't find him. Sheng Yao's mind spun rapidly. As for Sheng Yu and the others being killed by Lu Ming, he did not even think about it because it was impossible. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he looked at Sheng Yao and sneered. "As an elder of the Emperor's Sky Divine Palace, you're actually looking forward to my death. Haha, what a joke. Unfortunately, I've disappointed you." Lu Ming's voice spread far and wide, attracting the attention of a group of people. "How dare you? Kid, what's with your attitude? How dare you speak to Elder Sheng Yao like that? You're being disrespectful." Behind Sheng Yao, the unfamiliar young man shouted with an arrogant look on his face. "Disrespectful? Respect my ass. This old man wants me dead the moment he sees me. Why should I respect him? Are you fucking crazy?" Lu Ming scolded loudly and looked at the young man from the corner of his eyes. The young man was so angry that he was trembling all over. "How dare you?" Xing Yao shouted. His expression was extremely ugly. If this wasn't a public place, he would have slapped Lu Ming to death. However, there were so many people here. With his identity, what he said just now was indeed inappropriate. Since Lu Ming was holding on tightly, he could not find a reason to attack. Lu Ming sneered and ignored them. He walked toward the mission counter. Whoosh! At this moment, the young man behind Shang Yao caught up with Lu Ming and appeared in front of the mission counter before Lu Ming. He then looked at Lu Ming with a mocking expression and said, "Kid, so you're also here to submit the mission of the Scaled Demon Plane. Haha, what a coincidence. I entered the Scaled Demon Plane some time ago, and I'm here to submit the mission." Having said that, he looked at Lu Ming contemptuously and continued, "It's not that I want to say this, but this mission is totally suitable for a rookie from the East like you. In my opinion, you're already very lucky to be able to seal the souls of 1 or 2 first-level Martial King zombie guards, which I of yours saw that I've only sealed 1 or 2 souls of first-layer Martial King zombie guards." Lu Ming looked at the young man in amusement. "Oh, not just 1 or 2. 2 or 3. Ha ha ha." The young man laughed contemptuously. "Who is that? Look at his attitude. Shang Chuan is going to humiliate him. That's right. This kid is quite bold. He dares to talk to Elder Xing Yao like that. It's normal for Shang Chuan to take the opportunity to humiliate him. But I see that he's quite calm. Maybe he has something. What kind of thing is he? He's just pretending." Around them, some people saw that there was something interesting to watch and gathered around, whispering. Lu Ming also heard that the young man was called Shang Chuan. On the side, Xing Yao and Shang Wushuang looked at Lu Ming with a cold smile. Although they could not kill Lu Ming, it was good to see Lu Ming make a fool of himself. Lu Ming looked at Shang Chuan indifferently and said slowly, "Since you've said so, you must have gained a lot." "SOSO, but more than you. There's no doubt about it." Shang Chuan sneered. "Oh, if that's the case, hand in the task first, and let me see." Lu Ming said indifferently. "All right, I'll let you see." Shang Chuan smiled proudly and waved his hand. Suddenly, a pile of soul-sealing crystals appeared on the counter. Each soul-sealing crystal was covered with a layer of faint black light. At a glance, one could tell that all of them were sealed with souls. So many! There are more than 20 of them. More than 20 of them means that more than 20 zombie guards have died in Shang Chuan's hands. How terrifying! It seems that Shang Chuan's cultivation has improved again. As soon as Xing Chuan took out the soul-sealing crystals, the crowd burst into discussions. "Check them for me," Shang Chuan said proudly to an old man on the counter. On the mission counter, the old man picked up the soul-sealing crystals and carefully examined them one by one. A moment later, he finished checking them all. There are a total of 21 soul-sealing crystals, all of which are sealed with the souls of the zombie guards. Among them, 13 are first-layer Martial King Realm, 5 are second-layer Martial King Realm, 2 are third-layer Martial King Realm, and 1 is fourth-layer Martial King Realm. The old man announced. "What? There's even a fourth-layer Martial King, Lesser Success King?" Even a Lesser Success King zombie guard was killed by Shang Chuan. How terrifying! Zombie guards are hard to kill, but Shang Chuan managed to kill them with the help of the refined corpse. His cultivation should have reached the 5th-layer Martial King Realm. Chapter 535. Normally, a 4th-layer Martial King zombie guard would have 2 or 3 4th-layer Martial King corpses protecting him at all times. It would be impossible to kill a 4th-layer Martial King zombie guard unless he was caught off guard and launched a sneak attack. However, it would not be easy to launch a sneak attack, as zombie guards would spend most of their time hiding in their coffins. Also, it was the suppression of strength. He could kill the other party with his overwhelming strength. Shang Chuan's face was filled with pride. A total of 91,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Here are the spiritual crystals. Please count them. The old man on the counter took out a jade box and handed it to Xing Chuan. The surrounding people were even more envious. 90,000 extreme grade spirit crystals was definitely a huge amount for a low-level king warrior. It was only a mission, but he could actually earn 90,000 extreme grade spirit crystals. How frightening! No need to count. Xing Chuan was very generous. He took the jade box and kept it in his storage ring. Immediately after, he looked at Lu Ming proudly and said loudly, "Did you see that? This is my reward. I have sealed the souls of 21 zombie guards. Actually, this is not considered a lot. I believe that I will definitely have a bigger reward next time. However, to you this is an unattainable height." Xing Chuan looked at Lu Ming with contempt. Xing Yao and Sheng Wushuang looked at Lu Ming with sneers. They were very happy to see Lu Ming being humiliated in front of everyone. "You have the nerve to take out such a small amount to make a fool of yourself? Get out of the way and let me do it." Lu Ming looked calm. He glanced at Xing Chuan and said indifferently. The disdain in his tone was very obvious. What did you say? I made a fool of myself? Damn it, can you take out more soul-sealing crystals? Xing Chuan's eyes were burning with anger as he shouted. The surrounding people looked at Lu Ming curiously. What made Lu Ming so confident? Could it be that Lu Ming's reward was bigger than Xing Chuan's? Take it out. Quickly take it out. If you can't take it out today, I will make you swallow your words. Crash! Xing Chuan was originally shouting angrily, but in the next moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and the pile of soul-sealing crystals on the counter clattered, causing Xing Chuan's shouts to abruptly stop. Xing Chuan's eyes were as big as copper bells. He stared at the pile of soul-sealing crystals on the counter, his lips trembling. Around him, the other onlookers were the same. Their eyes almost popped out of their sockets as they stared at the pile of soul-sealing crystals on the counter in disbelief. Xing Yao and Sheng Wushuang had the same expression on their faces. It's fake. It's definitely fake. Lu Ming, the soul sealed inside, is definitely not the soul of a corpse guard of the Heavenly Corpse Sect. Lu Ming, did you take the soul of a demonic beast or hunt an ordinary warrior and seal their soul to cheat a reward? How dare you? Lu Ming, you've committed a heinous crime. You should be executed. At this moment, Xing Chuan finally reacted. He pointed at Lu Ming and shouted. He directly pinned the crime of killing ordinary warriors on Lu Ming's head. Around them, the way the onlookers looked at Lu Ming changed. Some of them believed Xing Chuan's words. After all, the pile of soul-sealing crystals Lu Ming took out was too much. There were at least 100 of them. How could Lu Ming kill more than 100 zombie guards? How was that possible? Idiot, Lu Ming said indifferently. The way he looked at Xing Chuan was as if he was looking at an idiot. This made Xing Chuan's chest swell with pain. He almost vomited blood. What did you say? What did you say? Xing Chuan roared. Lu Ming was too lazy to pay attention to him. He didn't even bother to look at him. He turned to the old man on the counter and said, "Senior, please check it for me so that I won't be wronged." All right. The old man on the counter picked up the soul-sealing jade tokens and checked them one by one. At the scene, everyone's eyes turned to look at the old man, especially Xing Chuan, who was hoping that the old man would say that Lu Ming's soul-sealing crystals were fake. Unfortunately, he was destined to be disappointed. The old man checked the tokens one by one in a serious manner. Gradually, the old man's face was filled with astonishment. The more he checked, the greater the astonishment on his face. It took the old man half an hour to finish checking all of Lu Ming's soul-sealing crystals. Everyone stared at the old man, waiting for his answer. A total of 110 of them, all sealed with the souls of the zombie guards of the Heavenly Corpse Sect. That's right, the old man said. Gasp! The crowd burst into an uproar after hearing the old man's words. All sealed with the souls of the zombie guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. How is that possible? What is this Lu Ming's cultivation? It's unbelievable that he could kill so many zombie guards. I heard that this Lu Ming came from the east. When he entered the city, he had a conflict with Shang Jiang of the Shang clan. I heard that his cultivation is second layer martial emperor realm. Second layer martial emperor realm? Are you kidding me? For a second layer martial king to be able to kill so many zombie guards and seal so many zombie guard souls, how could he kill so many zombie guards unless his luck was heaven defying? And all the zombie guards he encountered along the way were first layer martial king, and they were all alone. Otherwise, how could he kill so many zombie guards? The crowd burst into discussions in disbelief. Even Shang Chuan stared with his eyes wide open, filled with astonishment. 110 soul-sealing crystals, all sealed with the souls of the zombie guards. Even if they were all first-layer martial emperor realm cultivators, the reward would still be more than what he had received. At this moment, the old man on the counter announced again, a total of 110 crystals, all sealed with the souls of the zombie guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. 55 of them are from the first layer martial emperor realm, 30 from the second layer martial emperor realm, 19 from the third layer martial emperor realm, 10 from the fourth layer martial emperor realm, 3 from the fifth layer martial emperor realm, and 2 from the sixth layer martial emperor realm. In total, the reward is 880,000 spiritual crystals. The old man's eyes were filled with astonishment. It was the first time someone had received so many rewards since the mission was announced. Silence. The place fell into a dead silence. Everyone stared at Lu Ming with their eyes and mouths wide open. 880,000 spiritual crystals. There were even 10 fourth-layer martial emperor realm crystals, 3 fifth-layer martial emperor realm crystals, and 2 sixth-layer martial emperor realm crystals. How is this possible? They thought they were dreaming. Impossible, impossible, impossible. Shang Chuan was completely stunned. His body kept trembling as he mumbled to himself. He could not believe what he was seeing. Impossible? I've been working in the mission hall for 300 years, and I've never made a mistake. Are you doubting me? The old man on the counter stared at him. The old man's words awakened the crowd. Oh my God, what did I just see? 880,000 spiritual crystals. That's terrifying. 15 of the lesser martial emperor realm crystals. How did he do it? The fourth layer martial emperor realm crystal Shang Chuan got his trash compared to it. The crowd burst into an uproar as they discussed among themselves. Chapter 536. Shang Chuan's face reddened as he felt extremely ashamed. He could not wait to dig a hole and hide himself. He had only sealed the soul of a fourth-level martial king zombie guard, but he was already so proud of himself. Compared to Lu Ming, there was a world of difference. There was no way to compare them at all. There was no way to know how many levels they were inferior. Earlier on, Lu Ming was right when he said that he was a disgrace. How is this possible? How is it possible for this kid to be able to seal a fifth layer and sixth layer martial emperor realm zombie guard? Shang Chuan was utterly confused. How dare you, Lu Ming? What punishment do you deserve? At that instant, Xing Yao suddenly uttered a roar, causing the entire place to tremble. The crowd immediately gathered their attention onto Shang Yao's figure, their eyes filled with doubts. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he glanced at Shang Yao and calmly said, "What crime have I committed?" "What crime? You might be able to fool the others, but can you fool me? Lu Ming, with your cultivation, how could you kill fourth layer, fifth layer, and sixth layer martial emperor realm zombie guards? How is that possible? If you have the ability, tell me, how did you kill him?" Xing Yao said in a cold tone. "Hee hee. I don't think I need to explain how I did it to you. Besides, I don't think the Tian Divine Guards are required to tell me how they completed their missions. Lu Ming calmly said. Haha, still trying to deny it. Lu Ming, with your cultivation, it's impossible for you to kill so many zombie guards. There's only one possibility, which is that these soul-sealing crystals belong to someone else. Another Tian Divine Guard. You've used some despicable method to kill the other Tian Divine Guards and steal their soul-sealing crystals. How dare you say you're not guilty of such a serious crime? You deserve to die. Sheng Yao snapped. The crowd was startled as they fell into deep thoughts. They agreed with Sheng Yao's words, as this was the only possibility that could explain how Lu Ming had obtained so many soul-sealing crystals. Lu Ming, how dare you commit such a heinous crime? You deserve to die. Seizing the opportunity, Xing Chuan shouted. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he asked coldly, "Where's the evidence?" Evidence? There's no need for evidence. This is the truth. Damn it. Xing Yao shouted. Ha ha! Lu Ming suddenly laughed out loud and said, Xing Yao, is this how you become an elder of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Everything is just your wild speculation. And you want to convict me of a great crime? What a joke. Based on what you've said, you can convict anyone you don't like in the future? Laughable. Extremely laughable. All right then. I'll say that you bullied the Tian Divine Guards outside the Sheng clan, bullied the weak and snatched ordinary women. Xing Yao, how should you be punished? Lu Ming's voice reverberated throughout the arena, his imposing manner imposing. Audacious little bastard. You dare to slander me, and slander me. Xing Yao roared. Haha, what slander? That's the truth. Hurry up and kneel down and admit your guilt. Lu Ming sneered. You're courting death, little bastard. I'll cripple you now. A terrifying aura erupted from Xing Yao's body. His eyes were fierce, as if he was about to devour someone. Xing Yao, apart from the Sheng clan, are you going to kill the other Tian Divine Guards if they don't listen to you? Does the Sheng clan want to get rid of the other Tian Divine Guards and dominate the Tianjin region? Are you looking down on Martial Emperor Di? Lu Ming circulated his true origin and was ready to escape. However, he was shouting and accusing Xing Yao. Little bastard, you dare to slander me? Xing Yao roared, but he did not make a move. Tianjin City was not like the Eastern Branch Palace. In the Eastern Branch Palace, even if he killed Lu Ming, it would be fine. However, in Tianjin City, there was not only the Sheng clan but also the Mu clan. The Sheng clan and the Mu clan seemed to be on good terms, but they were competitors in secret. Xing Yao had quite a number of enemies. Not to mention the Mu family, even within the Sheng family, Xing Yao had enemies. If he did something out of line and was caught by his enemies, then his days would not be easy. Therefore, if he were to take action against Lu Ming in public without any concrete evidence, he was afraid that his opponent would really have something on him and use it to attack him. For a moment, his face turned red, but he did not make a move. He was hesitant. Damn it, this little bastard. I'll find a chance to kill him. Xing Yao roared in his heart. Lu Ming, how dare you be so rude to Elder Xing Yao? Kneel down and admit your mistake. At this moment, Sheng Chuan jumped out and shouted. Haha. Lu Ming only responded with a sneer. Sheng Chuan gritted his teeth and shouted. Lu Ming, I think Elder Xing Yao has a point. Did you secretly kill the other Empyrean Divine Guards and steal their soul-sealing crystals? How about this? I'll challenge you now. If you can defeat me, I'll admit your strength and prove that you have the ability to obtain those soul-sealing crystals. Sheng Chuan shouted. His eyes kept rolling as he thought of a vicious idea. Xing Yao's eyes lit up. He looked at Sheng Chuan with admiration. He wondered if he had lost his mind from anger or if this kid was smart. In this way, if Lu Ming still did not accept the challenge, it would mean that he had a guilty conscience. They could then use this as a reason to investigate Lu Ming. If Lu Ming accepted the challenge and lost to Sheng Chuan, Needless to say, the accusation would be confirmed. As for Lu Ming defeating Sheng Chuan, was it possible? Lu Ming had just arrived in Tianjin City and was only a second-layer martial king. How could he be a match for Sheng Chuan in such a short time? Sheng Chuan had already reached mid-fifth-layer martial king. This was a vicious move. Sheng Chuan was overjoyed after seeing Xing Yao's admiring gaze. He secretly praised himself for being smart enough to come up with such a plan. If he could settle this matter today, Xing Yao would surely put him in an important position in the future. Are you really going to challenge me? Lu Ming wore a strange expression as he glanced at Sheng Chuan with an indifferent smile. Nonsense, don't you have ears? Come on, do you dare to accept the challenge? If you don't, then your strength is questionable. Sheng Chuan let out a hollow laugh. Oh, if that's the case, I'll accept your challenge. Lu Ming's eyes flickered coldly as he said. As soon as these words were spoken, another round of intense discussion broke out in the audience. Lu Ming accepted the challenge. He accepted Sheng Chuan's challenge. How unwise. What do you mean, unwise? It's impossible for him to back down now. How is he going to explain himself by taking out so many soul-sealing crystals? That's right. He can only blame himself for being too high-profile just now. He didn't know how to endure. If he had endured just now, at most he would have lost a little face. Then he would have secretly turned in the mission later, and nothing would have happened. If it were me, I would definitely have done that. That's right, I agree. He accepted the challenge. Sheng Chuan's eyes flickered with joy. Lu Ming accepted his challenge. Great. Xing Yao let out a hollow laugh. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape this time around. Xing Wushuang's eyes flickered with a vicious look. Come, let's battle on the Divine Guard battle platform. Chapter 537. What's the hurry? I haven't received my reward yet. Lu Ming said indifferently and looked at the old man on the counter. The old man took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. There are 880,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals here. You can count them. There's no need to count them. Lu Ming smiled. The storage ring flashed, and all the supreme-grade spiritual crystals were transferred to Lu Ming's storage ring. Lu Ming then returned the storage ring to the old man. Now that you've received your reward, won't you have to spit it out later? Sheng Chuan sneered. Is that so? Don't cry later. Lu Ming curled his lips. Lu Ming then stepped forward and walked towards the Divine Guard battle platform. There was a Divine Guard battle platform in all the branches of the Emperor's Sky Divine Palace. Let's go and take a look. The people in the mission hall swarmed towards the Divine Guard battle platform. There were about 500 to 600 people. Some of them had even used voice transmission talismans to ask their friends and family to go to the Divine Guard battle platform. 500 to 600 people walking on the street naturally caused a commotion. Many people were curious and asked around. After hearing the whole story, they followed the crowd to the Divine Guard battle platform. The number of people increased rapidly, and soon there were a few thousand people. Lu Ming walked to the front of the crowd. When he arrived at the Divine Guard battle platform, he was stunned because the Divine Guard battle platform was already surrounded by people. It seemed like some people had received the news and rushed to the Divine Guard battle platform. There are so many young experts from the Sheng family here. Isn't that so? It's no wonder. Not many people dare to offend the Sheng family. It's normal for the geniuses of the Sheng family to come and take a look. I hope that Lu Ming can withstand a few more moves and not die so quickly. Otherwise, I would have come all the way here for nothing. That's right. Whispers could be heard all around. The smile on Lu Ming's face deepened. Whoosh! Arriving at the edge of the battle stage, Sheng Chuan leaped over 100 meters with a single step and leaped onto the stage. He looked down at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, come up quickly. Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked up the stairs of the Divine Guard battle platform, step by step. Arriving at the Divine Guard battle platform, Huang Xiaolong and Sheng Chuan stood opposite each other. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming! I didn't think that you would actually dare to accept my challenge. I really don't know where you got your guts from. 3 moves. I will defeat you in 3 moves. Sheng Chuan smiled disdainfully. 3 moves? Sheng Chuan, you have the nerve to say that. If it were me, I would have defeated him in 2 moves. No, 1 move is enough. 1 move is enough to beat him into a pig's head. Believe it or not, Sheng Chuan, it would be too embarrassing if you really defeated him in 3 moves. Sheng Chuan, this brat is too arrogant. I heard that he has repeatedly challenged the authority of the Sheng family. Today, you must cripple him and let him know the consequences of offending the Sheng family. That's right, cripple him. At the edge of the battle stage, some of the Sheng family's young geniuses shouted. Their voices were filled with indifference and arrogance, as if Lu Ming was a pitiful bug that could be crushed at will. The smile on Sheng Chuan's face deepened. He looked at Lu Ming with contempt and said, Lu Ming, did you hear that? This is the consequence of offending the Sheng family. Consequence? Just relying on your Sheng family's glib tongue? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Humph, you'll be crying later. Sheng Chuan's eyes turned cold. How about this? A direct battle is too boring. Let's make a bet. What do you think? Lu Ming suddenly said. He still remembered that he had made a fortune from the previous battle with Xue Chao. Naturally, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Bet? What do you want to bet? Sheng Chuan's eyes lit up. Let's bet 20 profound crystals. If I lose, I'll give you 20 earth profound crystals. If you lose, you'll give me 20 wind profound crystals. What do you think? Lu Ming smiled. Earth element profound crystal? You have them? Sheng Chuan's eyes lit up. He had comprehended the earth concept. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, 20 earth profound crystals appeared in the air, emitting a strong earth concept. These earth profound crystals were obtained from the scaled demon tribe in the scaled demon plane with Han Man and the others. Lu Ming also had a mid-grade earth profound crystal. Later, when Han Man and the others were killed by Lu Ming, those profound crystals naturally fell into Lu Ming's pocket. They're really earth profound crystals. Sheng Chuan's eyes emitted a blazing light. Where's your wind profound crystal? Take it out, Lu Ming said. Humph, Lu Ming, are you afraid that I'll go back on my word? Sheng Chuan snorted coldly. I'm afraid that you'll go back on your word, Lu Ming said. You, Sheng Chuan gritted his teeth. But where could he find so many wind profound crystals? Sheng Chuan, I have a few wind profound crystals. I'll lend them to you first. I have a few too. The young men of the sacred family standing next to him spoke up, taking out several Upanishad crystals of wind class. Sheng Chuan was overjoyed. He took them one by one and said loudly, Brothers, I'll borrow these profound crystals first. I'll return them to you later. From his tone, it was as if he could win. And hurry up and cripple that kid. I still need to go back and cultivate. The other Sheng family youths said, Don't worry, it'll be quick. Sheng Chuan took the profound crystals and returned to the opposite side of Lu Ming, saying, 20 profound crystals, not one less. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Right now, what he desired the most was wind profound crystals. However, 20 profound crystals are a bit too little. Lu Ming looked at the Sheng family youths, and his eyes lit up as if he had thought of something. Boom! At this moment, Sheng Chuan put away the wind profound crystals, and a powerful aura erupted from his body. The aura of a mid-fifth level martial king. Lu Ming lose. Sheng Chuan shouted. Boom! He punched out, and a huge mountain appeared in the sky. It was a few hundred feet tall and pressed down on Lu Ming. The aura was extremely majestic. Compared to this huge mountain, Lu Ming's body seemed extremely small. Is this first-level lesser success Earth concept? So powerful. Many low-level kings and even martial artists below the king realm were amazed. Break! Lu Ming let out a long howl. A ray of spear gleam shot up into the sky and collided with the mountain. Boom! The spear light and the mountain collided. After a while, there was a loud explosion. The mountain exploded and the spear light disappeared. Bang! Bang! Sheng Chuan and Lu Ming both took 7 or 8 steps back. The difference was that there was a strange smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. On the other hand, Sheng Chuan's expression changed drastically. Damn it! Sheng Chuan roared. He was humiliated that he was forced back by Lu Ming. It's a tie. It's a tie. Lu Ming can withstand Sheng Chuan's attack. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. No wonder he dares to fight with Sheng Chuan. Chapter 538. Xing Yao and Sheng Wushuang were also dumbfounded. This little bastard is too terrifying. How long has it been? He's already grown to this level. Damn it, damn it. Xing Yao roared in his heart. Sheng Wushuang's eyes almost popped out as a look of horror flashed across his eyes. Sheng Chuan didn't use his full strength just now. Lu Ming can't possibly be his opponent. Xing Yao took a deep breath and said coldly. Many people nodded when they heard this. Sheng Chuan was probably just testing the waters earlier. As for Lu Ming, he had most likely exerted his full strength. Lu Ming, I only used 50% of my strength just now. Now take this. Thousand Mountain Heavenly Fist. Sheng Chuan roared as his bloodline erupted. There was no doubt that it was the 6th level king bloodline. At the same time, he continuously punched out with both fists. Boom! Boom! Heaven and earth trembled as the vast fist shadows turned into tall mountains. The mountain peaks were stacked upon one another, as if there really were 1,000 of them. Suppress him! Sheng Chuan roared as the mountains in the sky crashed down on Lu Ming. It's a pity that I haven't cultivated it to perfection. How much strength should I use? 1 floor or half a floor? Lu Ming was a little conflicted. He had a plan in mind. He wanted to cast a long line to catch a big fish. He was afraid that he would scare the big fish away if he showed too much strength. Forget it. I'll use 10% of my strength first. Buzz. Lu Ming held the long spear and blasted it out. Ah, break for me, break for me. Lu Ming deliberately shouted at the top of his lungs. He had only used 10% of his strength, but he pretended that he had used 12% of his strength. The veins on his face bulged as he roared with all his strength. Boom! Lu Ming destroyed a mountain peak that came crashing down. However, the second mountain peak came crashing down. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, and the mountain peak continued to collapse. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming! Let's see how many mountains you can destroy. Sheng Chuan laughed and punched out continuously. The mountains in the sky continued to press down. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand. The spear light soared into the sky and became 1,000 meters long, constantly destroying the mountains. Boom! Boom! Between heaven and earth, rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Fortunately, the Divine Guard battle platform was wide enough for them to fight. Soon, dozens of moves had passed. Lu Ming had smashed dozens of mountains in succession, and then rushed towards the holy river. Bang! Bang! Every time Lu Ming stepped on the fighting ring, there would be a roaring sound. Sizzle! Lightning flashed in Lu Ming's hand as a powerful force of lightning burst out. Lesser Completion King. Lu Ming, that little bastard, has actually reached the Lesser Completion King realm. His battle strength is so strong that he can actually fight against Sheng Chuan. He can't be left alive. This little bastard can't be left alive. Xing Yao roared in his heart. He clearly sensed that Lu Ming's cultivation was at the early fourth layer martial emperor realm. This shocked him greatly. Thunderbolt. In the fighting ring, Lu Ming roared. With a thrust of his spear, the sky was filled with lightning, and the mountains were destroyed one after another. This move was not a martial technique at all. It was Lu Ming's roar. If he used a martial technique like the 3 skills of the dragon god, he was afraid that Shang Chuan would be killed instantly. Therefore, he could only use a random move and call out a loud name. Damn it, it's not easy to pretend to be weak. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. However, Shang Chuan was so shocked that he gasped. He shouted and covered his body with black stones to block the lightning attack. Sizzle, as the lightning swept over. The stones continued to collapse. How could this be? Shang Chuan is actually at a disadvantage? Nest, that kid is actually so strong. Is Shang Chuan going to lose? There was another round of intense discussion all around. Damn it. Shang Chuan roared again and again, trying his best to fight against Lu Ming. However, Shang Chuan was already at a disadvantage, and he was slowly being suppressed by Lu Ming. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves. Shang Chuan was hit by Lu Ming's spear. He screamed, and his body flew far away. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! Lu Ming rushed up and stepped on Shang Chuan's face, pressing him firmly on the fighting ring. Ah! Shang Chuan struggled madly and roared, trying to break free. However, with Lu Ming stepping on his face, he couldn't break free at all. He was about to go crazy. It's over. Shang Chuan knew that he was finished. His face was stepped on by Lu Ming in public. From now on, he wouldn't be able to raise his head in the Shang family. His future was also ruined. Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you. Shang Chuan roared madly. Slap. Lu Ming's response was a slap. The slap directly on Shang Chuan's face stopped Shang Chuan's scream abruptly. He was dumbfounded. How dare you, little bastard? How dare you slap the face of the Shang family's hero? You're courting death. Move your stinky foot away now. I want you to die without a burial place. The surrounding Shang family's youths roared. As for Shang Yao, he was so angry that his eyes were burning. What are you shouting for? A bunch of bastards. This is the Divine Guard battle ring. It's good that I didn't kill him. What's wrong with stepping on his foot? Lu Ming scanned the surroundings and hollered loudly, looking arrogant and haughty. This made the surrounding Shang family's youths so angry that they almost vomited blood. Don't stop me. I'm going to kill him. A Shang family's youth roared. Lu Ming ignored them and looked at Shang Chuan again. Now you've lost. Hand over the 20-wind attribute esoteric crystals. Little bastard, you still want esoteric crystals? Dream on. Shang Chuan roared. Are you trying to cheat? Hand it over quickly. Lu Ming shouted. I'm not going to hand it over. What can you do about it? You still want esoteric crystals? Dream on. Shang Chuan laughed. Lu Ming pointed at Shang Chuan and gritted his teeth. Ha ha ha! Seeing Lu Ming's expression, Shang Chuan laughed heartily. But in the next moment, he couldn't laugh anymore. Lu Ming bent down slowly and took off the storage ring on Shang Chuan's finger. What are you doing? Give me back my storage ring. Shang Chuan screamed. Give it back to you? I'm just using my winnings as a bet. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Give it back to me. 20 esoteric crystals. I'll give it to you. Shang Chuan yelled. This storage ring was his entire fortune. It's too late now. Lu Ming's finger glowed as he kept Shang Chuan's storage ring. You cheated. You cheated. Shang Chuan shouted. I cheated? Weren't you the one who cheated first? All right, trash. Get down. Lu Ming got up and gave a kick. Shang Chuan screamed miserably. Like a broken sack, he was sent flying by Lu Ming's kick. He slid across a distance of 7 to 8 miles and fell off the divine guard battle platform. His screams resounded throughout the place. "Little bastard, how dare you? You're courting death. Hand over your storage ring and kneel down to admit your mistake. I'll spare your life." Chapter 539. After all, Sheng Chuan was also a genius of the Sheng family. Now that he had been beaten up so badly, they felt humiliated. Xing Yao's eyes flashed with killing intent. He really wanted to rush up and slap Lu Ming to death. However, this was the divine guard battle platform. As an elder, he did not dare to make a move. There were some rules that even the Sheng family did not dare to break. The Sheng family was the overlord of the Tianqian domain, but they were like ants in front of the entire Emperor Heaven divine palace. A bunch of bastards. What are you arguing about? Lu Ming looked at the young men of the Sheng family and scolded them. His attitude was as arrogant as it could get. Damn it! The young men of the Sheng family were so angry that their eyes turned red. As the young men of the Sheng family, they were usually high and mighty. In the Tianqian domain, they were the overlords. Even if they went to some high-tier empires, the old ancestors and emperors of those empires would have to be respectful in front of them. Since when did anyone dare to scold them? Who dared to call them bastards in front of so many people? They were about to lose control of their killing intent. I can't take it anymore. Little bastard, I want to challenge you. Do you dare to accept my challenge? A young man of the Sheng family roared. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He immediately looked at the young man and said, "You want to challenge me? Do you have wind, elemental, profound crystals? If not, don't bother me." Lu Ming waved his hand impatiently. "Wind, elemental, profound crystals? I'll borrow them." The young man gritted his teeth and borrowed from the people around him. Many people had to give face to the young men of the Sheng family. Soon he had borrowed 20 wind, elemental, profound crystals. Now, 20 wind, elemental, profound crystals are here. Do you dare to accept my challenge? The young man shouted. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and the smile on his face became wider. He said, "Oh, all right then, I agree to fight you." His words caused an uproar. Lu Ming actually accepted Sheng Fei's challenge? Haha, he's finished. He probably doesn't know Sheng Fei's cultivation level. Sheng Fei has already reached the early 6th layer of the martial king realm. Sheng Chuan is nothing in front of Sheng Fei. That's right. Lu Ming's battle prowess is only slightly higher than Sheng Chuan's. He's dead for sure. He'll have to spit out everything he just took. Ha ha ha! Sheng Fei was overjoyed when he heard Lu Ming's reply. In a flicker, he flew towards the divine guard battle platform. Even within the restricted airspace of Tianqian City, it still appeared very graceful. Sheng Fei stepped onto the battle platform and quickly appeared in front of Lu Ming, his eyes flashing with cold killing intent. Haha, Lu Ming, you shouldn't have accepted my challenge. It's too late for regrets now. Sheng Fei laughed. Just now, Sheng Chuan was just as arrogant. In the end, didn't he cry for his parents? Lu Ming curled his lips. Below the battle stage, Sheng Chuan, who was healing himself, almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Who cried for their parents? He was just roaring, not crying for his parents. Lu Ming was just talking nonsense. If his words were spread, he would be even more embarrassed. Don't compare that trash Sheng Chuan with me. Sheng Fei sneered. In my eyes, you're all trash, Lu Ming said indifferently. Below the battle stage, Sheng Chuan was already trembling. He roared in his heart, "If you want to fight, then fight. Don't involve me. I'm already miserable enough." "You're courting death." Sheng Fei roared, his killing intent incomparably cold. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. Early stage, 6th martial king realm. At the same time, a powerful wind essence filled the air. It was as if a strong wind was blowing between heaven and earth. The aura was several times stronger than Sheng Chuan's. Sheng Fei has comprehended the wind essence. His attacks are as fast as lightning, and his attacks are like a storm. He's invincible. With Lu Ming's battle prowess, I reckon he won't be able to withstand 10 moves. 10 moves? It'll be good if he can withstand 3 moves. I reckon Lu Ming is regretting it now. He probably didn't expect Sheng Fei to be so powerful. Around them, many people were discussing and expressing their opinions. Clang! A slender, long sword appeared in Sheng Fei's hand. Go to hell! Sheng Fei moved his body and started to attack. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, countless sword qi burst out from Sheng Fei's hand, enveloping the whole area and sweeping toward Lu Ming. That was too fast. Lu Ming is doomed, many people thought, but in the next moment, Lu Ming moved. His body kept flickering, shuttling back and forth in the sky, full of sword qi, trying his best to avoid it. Although it was very dangerous, Lu Ming avoided it one by one. Many people were dumbfounded. Next I know, Lu Ming has also comprehended the wind essence, so he can avoid it. No way. I saw that his thunder essence has already reached lower level 1. Could it be that he has also comprehended the wind essence and condensed essence runes? That's terrifying. Lu Ming emitted the wind essence and sensed the changes in the wind around him. Although his wind essence was not as profound as Sheng Fei's, it was enough to avoid the sword qi. Humph! Then I'll defeat you with my strength. Sheng Fei shouted coldly, and the sword qi in the sky disappeared instantly. Whoosh! The sword qi in the sky seemed to condense into one, turning into a sparkling blue sword qi. It instantly pierced through the void and stabbed toward Lu Ming. He wanted to crush Lu Ming with his powerful cultivation of LV6 Martial King Realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he stabbed out with his spear. Clang! The tip of the spear and the tip of the sword collided. Suddenly, sword qi and spear radiance burst out in all directions. Sheng Fei's body trembled, and his expression changed drastically. Bang, 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 he took a dozen steps back. Of course, Lu Ming also took a dozen steps back symbolically. In the eyes of outsiders, they were evenly matched. Whoosh! The crowd was in an uproar. Lu Ming had actually blocked Sheng Fei's attack. How was that possible? What was going on? Wasn't Lu Ming only slightly stronger than Sheng Chuan just now? How could he block Sheng Fei's attack now? Hiding his strength. Lu Ming definitely hid his strength just now. Someone yelled. Everyone came to a realization. That was right. That was the only possibility. Lu Ming had actually hidden his strength. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to lure Sheng Fei down to earn ultimacy crystals? Some quick-witted people had already thought of this point, and they could not help but be dumbfounded. Lu Ming was too bold to use such a method to earn ultimacy crystals from the Sheng family's heroes. Among the crowd, Sheng Yao and Sheng Wushuang were the most shocked, because a few months ago Lu Ming was far from being this strong in the Eastern Branch Palace. How long had it been since then? He was simply a monster. Sheng Wushuang in particular was almost scared to death. When Lu Ming first joined the Empyrean Divine Guards, he was not even a half-step king. At that time, he could completely crush Lu Ming with his strength. But now, he was not even worthy of carrying Lu Ming's shoes. How could this be? How could this be? Chapter 540. Is this all you've got? It's nothing much? Lu Ming looked at Sheng Fei and smiled faintly. Die. Sheng Fei roared. He suppressed the shock in his heart and charged at Lu Ming. Holding a long spear, Lu Ming dashed forward and engaged in a fierce battle with Sheng Fei. The two of them seemed to be evenly matched, and the battle was extremely intense. Then, just like the battle with Sheng Chuan, Lu Ming slowly gained the upper hand after dozens of moves. After dozens of moves, Lu Ming defeated Sheng Fei with much difficulty, causing him to vomit a mouthful of blood. The crowd was dumbfounded. Lu Ming won again. You've lost. Hand over the ultimacy crystals. Lu Ming looked at Sheng Fei indifferently. Sheng Fei roared in his heart. He really didn't want to hand them over. But when he thought of Xing Chuan's fate, he shuddered and could only grit his teeth and hand over 20 ultimacy crystals. Lu Ming put them away happily and didn't forget to mutter, "What Xing family's heroes? They're all trash." Of course, he didn't lower his voice and spread it far and wide. Immediately, the Shang family's people burst into an uproar. "This bastard is too arrogant. I want him dead. Damn it, someone kill him." Some of the Shang family's young heroes roared in anger. Even some of the older generation's people were so angry that their eyes turned red. But for a moment, no one came out to challenge Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strange. When he fought with Sheng Chuan, he seemed to be only slightly stronger than Sheng Chuan. But later on, when he fought with Sheng Fei, his combat strength increased rapidly and became slightly stronger than Sheng Fei. They couldn't tell if Lu Ming was still hiding his strength. Now, Lu Ming was simply unfathomable in their hearts. It turns out that the so-called Sheng family's heroes are just cowards. Lu Ming sneered. "Bastard, what did you say? Say it again." The Sheng family's heroes were enraged. "Isn't that so? If you don't want to challenge me, then fine, I'll challenge you now." Lu Ming pointed his long spear in the direction of the Sheng family's youths. His battle intent soared to the skies as he shouted, "Now I challenge all of you. All of you, come at me together. Come at me together." These short words were like a storm that engulfed the entire place. The battle platform was in an uproar. Lu Ming had actually taken the initiative to issue a challenge, and had even challenged all of the Sacred Clan's heroes present. Crazy, he was crazy. There were at least 100 young geniuses from the Saint family present. There were also more than 20 kings at or above the initial stage. Lu Ming actually wanted to challenge all of the Sheng family's youths by himself. This was an insult, a naked insult. He was looking down on the many heroes of the Saint clan. Damn it, this brat deserves to die. Arrogant and ignorant. I'm going to kill him." The heroes of the Saint family roared furiously. "What? Do you only know how to shout? Are you afraid to go on stage?" Lu Ming continued to point his long spear at the youths, provoking them. His eyes revealed a trace of madness. The reason why Lu Ming repeatedly provoked the Sheng family today was to establish his power. That's right, establish his power. Ever since he came to Tianqian City, he had been provoked by the Sheng family. Wherever he went, there would be people from the Sheng family provoking him. Lu Ming was annoyed. Since that was the case, he might as well go all out. He would establish his power and display his powerful battle strength to intimidate the Sheng family. This way, the Sheng family would calm down for a period of time. Lu Ming took advantage of this time to increase his cultivation. This was Lu Ming's goal. Since they were already mortal enemies, he wasn't afraid of offending them. "Since you're courting death, we'll fulfill your wish. Brothers, let's go and teach him a lesson." A hero of the Sheng family roared and rushed toward the divine guard battle platform. In a few breaths, he had covered 10 miles and appeared in front of Lu Ming. He didn't hide his aura at all. Late stage, 6th level martial king. He was much stronger than Sheng Fei. Go! Whoosh! Whoosh! The sound of something breaking through the air was heard. One by one, the youths of the Saint family rushed onto the fighting ring and surrounded Lu Ming. 19. A total of 19 people. All of them were above the 4th level of the Martial King realm, and all of them were low-level Martial Kings. As for those below the level of King realm, there was no need for them to come up because they wouldn't pose much of a threat to Lu Ming. And the two of us, with 2 long howls, 2 more youths from the crowd rushed onto the battle stage. One was wearing a red robe, while the other was wearing a green robe. The two of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they had already reached the fighting stage. The aura they emitted was extremely terrifying. The peak of the 6th layer of the Martial King realm. It's Saint Chong and Saint Wolf, someone exclaimed. Supposedly, the two of them entered into closed-door cultivation a few months ago with the intention of charging into the sovereign realm. I never expected that they'd come out of closed-door cultivation now. It seems that he hasn't succeeded yet. He's still a small perfection king. However, he's only a step away from great perfection king. Sounds of discussion could be heard all around. On the battle stage, the other elites of the Saint clan were also overjoyed when they saw the two of them. I didn't expect that someone would look down on the Saint clan while I was in closed-door cultivation for a few months. Haha, he deserves to die. The blue-robed youth, Sheng Chong, said coldly. His eyes were like huge waves as he opened and closed them. That's good too. Today is a good time to show our might. Don't let others think that there's no one left in the Saint clan. Saint Wolf's eyes flashed with a fierce light like a wild beast. A total of 21 people surrounded Lu Ming. Their auras merged and were extremely terrifying. Are you all here yet? If so, let's fight. I'm too lazy to bet with you, Lu Ming said indifferently. His face was calm, as if he didn't feel any pressure being surrounded by so many people. Pretending to be relaxed. I'd like to see how strong you are. Attack! Xing Chong said coldly. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, the battle stage went berserk. 21 auras soared into the sky. 21 attacks merged and crushed toward Lu Ming. Yes, crushed. Lu Ming couldn't dodge and could only take it head-on. He's dead. Lu Ming is dead. Under this move, anyone below Great Perfection King will die. Who can he blame for his own death? Does he really think that he can be arrogant after defeating Sheng Fei and Sheng Chuan? Even if he has the strength of a peak 6th level Martial King, he's still going to die. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming exploded. The second bloodline merged with his body and circulated his true yuan to the extreme. At the same time, the three wills merged and exploded. An unimaginable spear light soared into the sky. This spear light seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth and everything. Boom! The joint attack of the 21 elites of the Saint clan collapsed under this spear light. Whoosh! Moon seizing, Lu Ming shouted. His long hair fluttered as the spear in his hand became 1,000 meters long and swept out. A full moon appeared on the battle stage. Chapter 541. Bang! Bang! The elites of the Sheng family were sent flying backward, like sandbags. With Lu Ming as the center, the heroes from the sacred family were thrown backward. They slid along the fighting ring at high speed. They only came to a stop after sliding for a few miles. Blood kept spurting out of their mouths. They were all martial artists of LV4 Martial King realm. They were vulnerable in front of Lu Ming. The martial artists of LV5 Martial King realm were also thrown back, but they didn't fall to the ground. They were still able to stand firm, but blood was spilling out of their mouths. Only the martial artists of LV6 Martial King realm were able to block the attack head-on, but they also took dozens of steps back. Even Sheng Chong and Sheng Lang took 7 or 8 steps back. The encirclement of the heroes of the Sheng family was instantly shattered by Lu Ming's attack. Boom! Boom! Below the fighting ring, countless people couldn't control their emotions when they saw this scene. Their auras surged out violently, and their eyes were wide open as they roared. 3 wills of heaven and earth. Lu Ming has comprehended 3 wills of heaven and earth. 3 wills of heaven and earth were condensed into Will's runes, and 2 of them were cultivated to the level 1 lower success. How did he do it? Impossible. Cultivating multiple wills will create resistance between each other. How did he do it? How could this be? He's too powerful. The Sheng family is no match for him. They were all defeated in one move. He didn't use his full strength just now. Otherwise, he would have killed Xing Chuan and Sheng Fei in one move. It turns out that he's not arrogant. He has the strength to do so. I understand now. He didn't get those soul-sealing jade tokens by plotting against others. He got them by himself by killing the zombie guards. He has the strength to do so. Many people around shouted. They couldn't control their emotions and didn't even care if their words would offend the Sheng family. It was too shocking. How could this be? Shang Yao's old eyes almost popped out at this moment. His aura spread out uncontrollably. Many people around him stepped back in shock, but he didn't feel it at all. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming, full of disbelief. Three kinds of concepts of heaven and earth. All of them have been cultivated into concept runes, and 2 of them have reached level 1 lower tier. Why? Sheng Wushuang seemed to have lost his soul. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming as he muttered under his breath. He simply could not accept all of this. In the past, he had even mocked Lu Ming for cultivating multiple intents at the same time and that he would never achieve anything. But now he had only cultivated one concept and had yet to condense a concept rune. On the other hand, Lu Ming had cultivated 3 concepts and all of them had condensed concept runes. 2 of them had even reached level 1 lesser success. Compared to Lu Ming, he was simply trash. No, he couldn't even be compared to trash. He was just dung. At this moment, his heart of martial arts collapsed. The aura on his body fluctuated unsteadily, and his eyes became lifeless. During this period of time, Lu Ming had dealt him a series of blows. Now, just a moment ago, this blow had finally reached its peak, shattering his heart of martial arts. Once his heart of martial arts was destroyed, it would be difficult for him to progress in martial arts. In other words, Sheng Wushuang would never be able to break through to Martial King Realm. It was ridiculous. Back then, he had said that Lu Ming would never be able to break through to Martial King Realm. But now, the same thing had happened to him. What a piece of trash! Sheng Yao shouted coldly when he saw Sheng Wushuang's condition. In the fighting ring, Sheng Chong, Sheng Lang, and the others were also shocked. One move. Lu Ming had only used one move, but the power contained in that move was too terrifying. It was far beyond the peak of LV6 Martial King Realm. You want to cripple me with such strength? Lu Ming held his long spear, his long hair fluttering in the wind. His aura was wild. Lu Ming, your strength is indeed not bad. How about this? Let's call this a draw. Xing Chong shouted as he looked at Lu Ming. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. The Sheng family was completely defeated in this battle. But if it ended in a draw, the Sheng family's reputation would be better. Everyone looked at Sheng Chong with disdain. It was obvious that Sheng Chong was afraid. A draw? Haha! Do you think you're qualified to fight me to a draw? Lu Ming laughed and walked toward Sheng Chong, Sheng Lang, and the others with his long spear in hand. Lu Ming, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Xing Chong roared and couldn't help but step back. Nonsense. Either admit defeat or fight. Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming, that's enough. Xing Yao shouted coldly. Old man, is it your turn to speak on the Divine Guard battle ring? Lu Ming reprimanded him without turning his head. You, Sheng Yao, was a peak king and an elder of Emperor Sky Divine Palace. He had never been scolded by a junior before. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Lu Ming didn't stop and walked toward Xing Chong and the others. Damn it, let's attack together, Sheng Chong roared. He knew that this battle couldn't be avoided. They could only fight. If they didn't even dare to fight and admitted defeat, they wouldn't have become a laughingstock and would have been punished by the Sheng family. Kill! Kill! Xing Chong, Sheng Lang, and the others roared and unleashed their full strength. A green divine bird flew above Xingqiang's head. The intent of wind spread out, and a gale swept out. Above Xinglang's head was a giant wolf. The giant wolf's body was covered in flames, and the intent of fire filled the sky. There were also some 6th and 5th stage Martial King experts. There were 10 of them in total. Kill, kill, kill. 10 attacks flew toward Lu Ming from different angles. 10,000 dragons kill. Lu Ming thrust out his spear, and dozens of 3-colored true dragons flew out and pounced toward the 10 Sheng family heroes. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward Xingqiang and Xinglang. Shua, a huge spear radiance, thicker than a water tank, blasted toward the 2 heroes. The 2 heroes were shocked and used their strongest moves to block it, but it was useless. They were hit by the huge spear radiance, and their bodies shook violently. They flew backward and spat out blood. They flew for several miles before they staggered and steadied themselves. Below the fighting ring, countless people looked at Lu Ming in shock. At this moment, Lu Ming was like an invincible god of war. He was invincible, a peerless genius. This was the only thought in everyone's mind. Maybe in 3 to 5 years, Lu Ming will be on the list of top 1,000 talents. I think so too. As long as Lu Ming keeps up this momentum, he will be on the list of top 1,000 talents in 3 to 5 years at most. In that case, our Tianxian domain will have 2 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Below the fighting ring, people whispered. Both of you admit defeat. Lu Ming stared at Xingqiang and Xinglang. You want us to admit defeat? Impossible. Lu Ming, unless you can knock us out of the fighting ring, we won't admit defeat. Xinglang shouted. Since you have some backbone, I'll fulfill your wish. Chapter 542. Everyone stared at the fighting ring. They felt that the battle was about to come to an end. Just then, a cold voice came from afar. Lu Ming, how dare you? As soon as the voice fell, a divine light shot from afar. The divine light was too fast. It crossed the void in an instant and shot towards Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's face changed. He felt that the divine light contained terrifying power and killing intent. His body instantly tensed up, and all the hairs on his body stood on end. This was an instinctive reaction. He felt a fatal threat from this divine light. Without any hesitation, he retreated. At the same time, the 9 dragons' bloodline activated and devouring power filled the area. The true essence in his body circulated to the extreme. The 3 wills of heaven and earth merged and surged towards the long spear. True dragon strike. He thrust out the spear, and a huge tricolor true dragon flew out and collided with the divine light. Boom! There was a loud explosion. The divine light pierced through the tricolor true dragon, and the 3 wills of heaven and earth on it collapsed. Whoosh! The divine light did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Extreme Tao strike! At the critical moment, Lu Ming stopped retreating. He became one with the spear and turned into a spear radiance that pierced forward. Boom! The tip of the spear accurately pierced the divine light. In an instant, Lu Ming felt a terrifying power surging towards him along the long spear. Lu Ming felt as if he had been hit by a big hammer. His body slid back along the fighting ring. He slid back for a few miles before coming to a stop. He felt his blood boil and his arm holding the spear tremble slightly. Crack! At this moment, the tip of the demon-banishing spear let out a cracking sound, and cracks began to appear on its surface. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Finally, with a bang, the tip of the demon-banishing spear exploded into pieces and scattered all over the ground. After withstanding Lu Ming's powerful force and the bombardment of the divine light, the demon-suppressing spear finally could not take it anymore and exploded. However, the divine light was successfully blocked by Lu Ming. Who is it? Lu Ming looked in the direction of the divine light. He wasn't the only one. At this moment, everyone looked in that direction. A slender figure wearing a 7-starred robe with his hands clasped behind his back walked through the air step by step. Everyone's hearts shook violently. Within profound Heaven City, there was a forbidden zone. Ordinary kings simply couldn't walk in the air. Only peak kings could barely walk in the air. This person was very young, about 24 or 25 years old. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. He was extremely handsome. Starlight filled the air around him, making him look like a god that had descended into the world. "Holy star, it's a holy star!" Someone roared. "It's over. Lu Ming is finished. I didn't expect that even the sacred star would be attracted here. This time, Lu Ming is really finished. Heavens! Xing Xing's cultivation seems to have improved. He can actually walk in the air. Could it be that he has already broken through to the Peak King realm?" Many people were shocked. Such a young Peak King was simply too shocking and incredible. No, Xing Xing hasn't broken through to the Peak King realm. He should still be at the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. However, his strength is too strong. He's no weaker than a Peak King, so he can walk in the air, a white-haired old man explained. Shang Yao was not the only elder present. There were other elders present as well. This white-haired old man was one of them. "Oh, I see. That's also amazing." The others sighed. How old was Xing Xing? He was only 25 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. Didn't this mean that he had a chance to open his spiritual sea and become a Sea of Soul realm expert before the age of 30? Countless gazes were fixed on the youth in the air. "Xing Xing." Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Xing Xing ever since he came to profound Heaven City. Lu Ming had heard this name many times. Xing Xing was the #1 genius in Tianqian domain and a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. He was the idol of countless young geniuses in Tianqian domain. The other so-called geniuses in Tianqian domain were like candlelight in front of Xing Xing. They couldn't be compared at all. Xing Xing walked in the air and arrived above the Divine Guard battle platform. He looked down at Lu Ming. Stars seemed to twinkle in his eyes. Young Master Xing Chen, Sheng Chong, Sheng Lang, and the others hurriedly bowed when they saw Lu Ming. They looked nervous, as if they were very afraid of Sheng Xing. Xing Xing was the chosen successor of the Sheng family. In the future, he would definitely be at the helm of the Sheng family. It could be said that their fates were under his control. They were naturally afraid of Sheng Xing. Xing Xing glanced at them indifferently and said expressionlessly, "All of you leave and heal yourselves." Yes, yes. Sheng Chong and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They supported each other and left the battle platform. Then, Sheng Xing looked at Lu Ming again. "So you're Lu Ming. You've got guts to injure so many people of my Sheng family," Xing Xing said indifferently. No one could tell what emotion he was feeling from his voice. Divine Guard battle platform. "It's just a fair battle," Lu Ming said. "Huh." Sheng Xing chuckled and said, "You're not bad. I just happen to be lacking a coachman. You'll report to work as a coachman for 3 years. If you perform well, you'll naturally be promoted." Xing Xing stood in the air with his hands behind his back. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was filled with a commanding tone, as if this matter had already been decided. Around them, many people revealed looks of surprise. They never thought that Sheng Xing would let Lu Ming go so easily. He even asked Lu Ming to be his coachman. In many people's eyes, being a coachman for the Saint Star was a supreme honor. This was a position that belonged to the Saint Star's trusted aides. Their status would rise along with the tide, and a casual word from them would cause many emperors of great countries to tremble in fear. Moreover, Xing Xing might even be guided by Xing Xing. How honorable was that? In many people's eyes, Sheng Xing was not punishing Sheng Xing, but rewarding him. It seems that Lu Ming's talent has been valued by Sheng Xing. Someone exclaimed. Damn it! Sheng Wushuang gritted his teeth. He was jealous of Lu Ming. If this opportunity fell on him, he would wake up laughing in his dreams. Now, this opportunity fell on Lu Ming. Do you think Lu Ming will agree? Someone asked in a low voice. Nonsense, of course he'll agree. Who is Sheng Xing? He's a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although Lu Ming's talent is very high, I think he's still far from Sheng Xing. It's good enough that he can become Sheng Xing's coachman. Yes, if he doesn't agree, Sheng Xing will definitely not let him go. In such a situation, he'll definitely agree. Yes, it's not shameful to be Sheng Xing's coachman. Many people were speculating curiously. Chapter 543. Sheng Xing, right? Lu Ming stared at Sheng Xing with a faint smile on his face. At this moment, the scene quieted down. Everyone looked at Lu Ming, waiting to see how he would respond. Sheng Xing, I think you're not bad. My courtyard is lacking a gatekeeper. Pack up and quickly report to me. A clear voice came from Lu Ming's mouth, but it swept through the crowd like a storm. Everyone was stunned. After a long while, a shocking uproar broke out. Lu Ming refused. Not only did he refuse, but he also asked Sheng Xing to guard his door. Heavens, he's got guts. This is adding fuel to the fire. It's fine if he refused, but he actually asked Sheng Xing to guard his door. Is he qualified? Excited discussions broke out all around. Lu Ming, how dare you speak to my Sheng clan's young master like that? You're courting death. Young Master Xingqian wants you to be his groom because he thinks highly of you. Many people want to know, but you actually dare to speak to him like that. You're simply arrogant, ignorant, and stubborn. Sheng Yao scolded loudly from the side. As for Sheng Wushuang, he simply wanted to laugh to death. Just now, he was really afraid that Lu Ming would agree. You refused? Sheng Xing's face was still calm. No expression could be seen as he asked indifferently. Nonsense. If others are willing to be your dog, that's their business. But why would I, Lu Ming, do that? In this world, no one can make me his groom, including you, Sheng Xing. Lu Ming said loudly. As soon as he said that, it caused a wave of curses. What an ignorant and arrogant son of a bitch. Who does he think he is? He thinks he's number one with a bit of talent. What a joke. He's comparing himself to the sacred star. Who does he think he is? What qualifications does he have to be compared to young Master Xingqian? At this moment, Sheng Xing's face finally turned cold. With a wave of his hand, as if there was a huge magical power, the crowd immediately quieted down. I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Since that's the case, I'll cripple you. A cold voice came from Saint Star's mouth. Boom! In the next moment, the starlight on the sacred star burned like a flame, illuminating the entire sky. This is the concept of stars. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In the world, other than the 9 common concepts of wind, fire, and thunder, there were many other special concepts. However, these special concepts were often extremely difficult to comprehend, but they were often extremely powerful. The concept of stars was such a special concept. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, the starlight condensed into dozens of long swords that pierced through the air, piercing towards Lu Ming's vitals. Wherever the stars passed, terrifying and shocking sonic booms could be heard. Don't take it head-on. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank. The sacred star was too powerful. It wasn't something he could fight against. Retreat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. He took a step forward and retreated at a frightening speed. You want to escape in front of me? Saint Star shouted as the starlight on his body became even more dazzling. At the same time, starlight sprinkled down from the sky above Lu Ming's head and condensed into a giant hand that pressed down on Lu Ming. This giant hand seemed to have appeared out of thin air above Lu Ming's head. There was no way to avoid it. Block! Lu Ming growled as he activated 2 bloodlines. A lower LV5 long spear appeared in his hand. His true essence circulated crazily as 3 concepts burst out. He stabbed the spear at the star hand. Boom! With a loud boom, Lu Ming's body fell from the sky like a meteorite and heavily smashed into the edge of the fighting ring, coughing up blood. Pung! The lower LV5 long spear in Lu Ming's hand was shattered. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. It's just a meaningless struggle. Saint Star looked indifferent as he stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He looked down at Lu Ming condescendingly as if he was an emperor who ruled over everything. Saint Star, why are you pretending? Do you really think you're a peerless genius who can look down on everything? You're only ranked 998th on the list of top 1,000 talents. There are many people stronger than you. Why are you so arrogant? Also, how old are you? You're 5 years older than me. What's there to be proud of? If I cultivate for another 5 years, I can suppress you with 1 finger. Lu Ming hollered. He stood upright and stared at the sacred star with bright eyes. Many people's eyes lit up at his words. Indeed, how old was Lu Ming now? It would be an exaggeration to say that he could suppress Saint Star with 1 finger when he was at Saint Star's age. However, it was not impossible for him to reach Saint Star's current level. Everyone had seen Lu Ming's combat, strength, and talent. Some people felt that Lu Ming had the potential to be ranked on the list of top 1,000 talents. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. On the path of martial arts, you'll be stronger every step you take. You'll never be a match for me. Are you trying to provoke me into letting you go? Haha, I'm not interested in that. So I'll just cripple you first, said Shang Xing coldly. Starlight surged around him as he was about to unleash the next wave of attacks. It seems that I can only use the Thunder Cauldron. With my current cultivation, I can definitely kill Saint Star with 1 blow if I use the Thunder Cauldron. However, I won't be able to fight back. There's no other way now. Lu Ming's eyes flashed viciously. He immediately focused his mind and communicated with the Thunder Cauldron. Lu Ming's glabella flickered with a faint light and traces of lightning power. He could control the Thunder Cauldron to launch a fatal blow at any time. Stop! Just then a soft shout was heard. Caw! Then a bird's cry was heard. Everyone saw that in the sky, a large green condor was flying towards them at an extremely fast speed. There were 2 figures standing on the eagle's back. Mu Xiuyuan and senior sister Mulin's. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The 2 people on the eagle's back were Mulin's and Mu Xiuyuan. That's Miss Mulin's. What's Miss Mulin's doing here? Many people were curious. Saint Star's eyes flickered slightly. The starlight on his body also calmed down, and he stopped attacking. Caw! The eagle cried. The next moment, the eagle appeared above the divine guard battle platform. Mulin's and Mu Xiuyuan jumped down from the eagle's back and appeared on the divine guard battle platform. Lu Ming, are you all right? Mulin's immediately walked toward Lu Ming with concern in her eyes. It's just a small injury. I'm fine. Senior sister Mulin's, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Lu Ming smiled. He hadn't seen Mulin's for more than a year. Mulin's had become more mature and charming. Her curves were even more stunning. One look at her and one would have an irresistible impulse. Countless pairs of fiery eyes stared at Mulan from all directions. It's been a long time indeed. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to reach this stage. You didn't disappoint me. Mulin's revealed a faint smile. Law Honor, move aside. This kid has injured many of my Saint family's elites. Let me cripple this kid first. Chapter 544. As soon as Mullins arrived, she was talking and laughing with Lu Ming as if there was no one around. This made his killing intent sore. Sacred Star, let him go. Let go of Lu Ming. Only then did Mu Lan turn around and look at the Sacred Star. Lan, or what did you say? Sacred Star's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Sacred Star, I'm here today. Don't even think about hurting a single hair of his. Mullins said, Mullins. Sacred Star's eyes were filled with killing intent like a storm. Mu Lan was his fiancée in the Sacred Star Palace. Yet she was protecting another man in front of everyone. How could he still have any face left? At this moment, Sacred Star's killing intent towards Lu Ming did not decrease. Instead, it increased. I only wanted to cripple him, but now he must die. Sacred Star's cold and emotionless voice came out from his mouth. How dare you? Mullins stood in front of Lu Ming. At this moment, the spectators looked at each other. Some of them were smart enough to figure out what was going on. Strange expressions appeared on their faces. Mullins, do you think you can stop me? Get out of my way. Sacred Star waved his hand and starlight burst out. It was like ribbons of light that wrapped around Mullins and Mu Shiyuan. Boom! Boom! Mullins and Mu Shiyuan unleashed their powerful auras. After not seeing each other for a while, Mullins had reached the Martial King realm and Mu Shiyuan's cultivation had reached the peak of LV6 Martial King realm. However, it was all in vain. Under the starlight of Sacred Star, they could not resist at all. The starlight wrapped around them and pulled them to Sacred Star's side. Senior Mullins! Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming! Mullins also shouted. Lu Ming, let's see who can save you now. Die! The Saint Star was filled with cold killing intent. Before this, he still felt that Lu Ming's talent was not bad and wanted to recruit him for his own use. But now, he had already made up his mind to kill Lu Ming. Boom! Cold killing intent and a powerful aura erupted from Sheng Xing's body. Sheng Xing clenched his fist, and a starry battle sword appeared in his hand. It's still not certain who will live and who will die on the Sacred Star. Lu Ming's gaze was also incomparably cold as he stared at the Sacred Star. Wisps of lightning swam between his eyebrows. With just you, Sheng Xing sneered disdainfully. He took a step forward and the Divine Guard battle platform rumbled. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly and the ruthlessness in them intensified. He knew that even if he could use the lightning cauldron to kill Xing Xingchen, he wouldn't be able to survive. The other members of the sacred clan wouldn't let him off, and the secret of the lightning cauldron would be exposed. But now he had no other choice. Stop! Xing Xing, I promise you that as long as you let Lu Ming go, I will marry you in a year. Mullins shouted at this moment. The Sacred Star's figure came to a halt. He then turned around and looked at Mullins. It seems like this kid is really important in your heart. You don't have to worry about this. I promise to marry you in a year as long as you let Lu Ming go. If you kill him, I would rather die than marry you. Mullins said. Senior Sister Mullins, you can't. Lu Ming shouted. However, Mu Lan ignored Lu Ming and continued to stare at the Sacred Star. All right, I promise you. But not in a year's time, but in half a year's time. You and I will get married in half a year's time, and I will let this kid go. Xing Xing said coldly. Half a year? Mullins gritted her teeth, glanced at Lu Ming, and said, All right, I promise you. Seeing Mullins agree, Sheng Xing waved his hand, and the light of the stars around Mullins and Mu Shiyuan dissipated. The two of them regained their freedom. As soon as the two of them regained their freedom, they walked towards Lu Ming. Senior Sister Mullins, why did you agree to his request? He may not be able to kill me, Lu Ming said, full of unwillingness. Mullins smiled slightly thinking that Lu Ming was saying it out of anger. She didn't care and said, "Lu Ming, we are engaged after all. Perhaps this is fate. I always want to escape, but in the end I can't escape." A long sigh sounded softly. Kiki, Lu Ming clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sounds. He knew that Mullins was doing this because of him. Otherwise, with Mullins' character, she would never agree to it. "Lu Ming, since Lan Er has pleaded for you today, I will spare your life," Xing Xing said coldly. Immediately after, he revealed a contemptuous look and continued, "Lu Ming, a person like you, who can only hide behind a woman, is not worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as me." After saying that, he smiled contemptuously and turned around to leave. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice sounded. "Xing Xing, since this is the case, do you dare to accept my challenge?" "Hua!" Lu Ming's voice was like a storm, sweeping across the entire place. Many people were dumbfounded. What did I just hear? Lu Ming wants to challenge Xing Xing? He has guts, he's courting death. Arrogant and conceited. This is arrogant and conceited. The entire place burst into an uproar. In Tianxian domain, no one from the younger generation dared to challenge Xing Xing for a few years. "You want to challenge me?" Xing Xing turned around and asked. Even he was a little surprised. "That's right. Xing Xing, half a year later, you and I will fight. Do you dare?" Lu Ming said loudly. "Half a year later?" A cold smile appeared on the corners of Xing Xing's mouth. He glanced at Mulan and said, "Could it be that you think you can catch up to me in half a year? Fight with me?" "You don't have to worry about this," Lu Ming said. "Lu Ming, no, you don't have to do this for me," Mulan said anxiously. She knew that the reason why Lu Ming chose to challenge Xing Xing in half a year must have something to do with her. However, with Lu Ming's cultivation, it was impossible for him to be Xing Xing's opponent in half a year's time. Lu Ming could fight those above his level, so could Xing Xing. If Lu Ming could improve, so could Xing Xing. It was almost impossible to catch up to the Saint Star in just half a year. It wasn't that she didn't have confidence in Lu Ming. She was very confident in Lu Ming. She believed that Lu Ming would be able to catch up with Xing Xing in a few years. However, half a year was too short. Lu Ming waved his hand and interrupted Mullins. "Senior Sister Mullins, this battle is imperative. Even if it's not for you, I will still pay for today's humiliation." Lu Ming's voice was firm and unquestionable. "Xing Xing, say it. Do you dare?" Lu Ming looked at Xing Xing intently. "All right, I promise you. I will let you know what despair is in half a year's time. You will never be able to catch up with me." Xing Xing's voice was full of confidence. The scene was in an uproar. Xing Xing actually agreed to Lu Ming's challenge. The two would fight in half a year's time. Moreover, this battle would be very interesting. If Xing Xing was defeated, his wedding with Mullins would definitely be affected or even cancelled. If Lu Ming was defeated, Xing Xing could use the momentum of victory to marry Mullins. Chapter 545. Do you think Lu Ming has any hope in half a year? How is that possible? The sacred star will probably become a peak king in half a year. How can Lu Ming have any hope? There's no hope at all. I think so too, but I'm still looking forward to it. Me too. We can't miss it in half a year. Around them, everyone was discussing excitedly. The sacred star didn't say anything else. He turned around and left, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. This Lu Ming, he has escaped a calamity again. Sheng Wushuang clenched his teeth. So what if he escaped? He's still going to die in half a year. We'll just let him live for another half a year. Shang Yao snorted. But Sheng Wushuang still had some worry in his eyes. Lu Ming was just too monstrous. Every time he saw Lu Ming's cultivation would increase explosively. Sheng Wushuang was already a little afraid. He was afraid that the next time they met, Lu Ming would have reached an unknown level. Even if Lu Ming has some talent, do you really think he can catch up to the sacred star young lord in half a year? There's no chance at all. Xing Yao said, Not bad, not bad. Sheng Wushuang kept comforting himself, but he was still very nervous inside. After that, the crowd slowly dispersed. However, the news of Lu Ming challenging the sacred star in half a year's time, as well as the news of Sheng Wushuang marrying Mulan in half a year's time, spread like wildfire. It caused an earthquake on the divine guard battle platform. Lu Ming, you shouldn't have challenged the sacred star young lord. Mulins looked at Lu Ming with some blame. However, she didn't know why, but she was a little happy. She knew that Lu Ming had challenged Sheng Wushuang mostly because of her. Senior Sister Mulins, don't you have so little confidence in me? Don't worry, in half a year, I'll definitely beat Sheng Wushuang until he's half paralyzed and can't marry you. Lu Ming said with a smile, You're still so confident. Mulan rolled her eyes at Lu Ming, revealing a smile at the corners of her lips. Hey, Senior Sister Mulins, why don't you want to marry the sacred star young lord? Although this guy has an arrogant expression that makes people unhappy, to be honest, he still has some ability and looks good. Wait, don't tell me you don't want to marry him because you like me? Lu Ming smiled at Mulins. Like you? Stop dreaming. Mulan pouted coquettishly. Her face was a little red, and she looked incomparably charming. Then she sighed and said, Who would want their fate to be determined by someone else since they were young? Besides, it's hard to say when it comes to feelings. Although Shang Xingqian is a genius, he doesn't have any feelings for him. Lu Ming had a spurious smile. Cough, cough. At this time, Mu Shiyuan coughed a few times and said, Shouldn't we leave this place now? And yes, let's go. Mulins's face was red as she said hurriedly. Lu Ming's gaze and smile were too much for her to handle. Immediately after, Mulan gestured for the giant eagle in the sky to leave on its own. She, Lu Ming, and Mu Shiyuan walked down from the fighting ring and walked toward a street. Lu Ming, where are you staying now? Mulins asked. I'm staying in a house in the city. Lu Ming said, Oh, how about this? You can move to the 4th district. You can cultivate faster in the 4th district. I'll arrange a courtyard for you. Mulins said. Mulins's father was the palace master of the Tianqian branch. He had the authority to arrange a courtyard in the 4th district. Then, the three of them walked toward the 4th district. The 4th district was blocked by a city wall. There were experts guarding the city gate. Ordinary people were not allowed to trespass, or they would be killed without mercy. However, Lu Ming had Mulins and Mu Shiyuan to lead the way. Naturally, he entered the 4th district without any obstacles. What a strong spiritual qi of heaven and earth! What a strong realm of heaven and earth! As soon as they entered the 4th district, Lu Ming exclaimed repeatedly. He realized that the spiritual qi of heaven and earth here was extremely dense, as if it was about to materialize. The realm of heaven and earth was even stronger than the Tao Enlightenment Palace in the east. It was hard for one's cultivation not to improve if they stayed here for a long time. No wonder the younger generation of the Shang family had so many experts and martial king experts. In such an environment, even a pig would be able to cultivate to a decent level. Mulins and Mu Shiyuan led Lu Ming to the depths of the 4th district. Soon, they arrived in front of a courtyard. Miss Mulins. At the entrance of the courtyard, an old man bowed to Mulins. Well, Elder Qian, Lu Ming will stay in this courtyard from now on. Mulins pointed at Lu Ming. Elder Qian looked at Lu Ming with a trace of surprise in his eyes. He then nodded and said, Yes. Lu Ming, let's go in and take a look at the environment. Mulins smiled. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The three of them walked into the courtyard. In terms of size, this courtyard was not as big as the East Sky courtyard in the east. This was normal. This was the 4th district of Tianjin City. Its value was terrifyingly high. The area was naturally not big. However, the layout was very elegant. It was very suitable for cultivation, comprehension of realm and martial techniques. Lu Ming was very satisfied. The three of them walked around and returned to the courtyard. Lu Ming, this token is for you. With this token, you can freely enter and exit the 4th district. Mulins took out a purple token and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and kept it. Senior Sister Mulins, I wonder if there are any inscription masters in Tianjin City. I would like to ask an inscription master to refine a spear for me. Lu Ming asked. Previously, the tip of the demon vanquishing spear was already broken. As for ordinary level 5 inferior grade long spears, Lu Ming had 2 of them. They were obtained from others. However, level 5 inferior grade spears were not of much use. Of course, there are inscription masters in Tianjin City. Moreover, there are more than one. What grade spirit spear do you want to refine? Mulins asked. It's best if it's grade 6. Lu Ming said, Grade 6. Mulins and Mu Shiyuan were both shocked. Grade 6 spirit weapon was a spirit weapon specially used by Sea of Soul Realm experts. Its power was extremely frightening. However, the materials required were also terrifyingly expensive. Lu Ming actually wanted to refine a grade 6 spear. Lu Ming nodded. His cultivation progress was very fast. Moreover, his genuine was too abundant. It was 10 times more than ordinary people. Moreover, the martial techniques he cultivated were extremely tyrannical. The requirements for spirit weapons were extremely high. Ordinary spirit weapons simply could not bear his explosive power. The demon vanquishing spear's material was already very good. However, it still could not bear it. Only a grade 6 spirit weapon would be enough for Lu Ming to use for a period of time. Lu Ming, the price of refining a grade 6 spirit weapon is terrifyingly high. I don't have that many spirit crystals on me. Chapter 546. Senior Sister Mulins, you don't have to worry about this. I'll take care of it. Lu Ming smiled. He had nearly 9 million spirit crystals on him. He believed that it was enough to refine a grade 6 spirit weapon. Mu Shiyuan and Mulins were extremely astonished. Lu Ming could even afford a grade 6 spirit weapon? It seemed like they'd still underestimated Lu Ming. All right then. There's a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City, and he's a good friend of my father. However, he's not free these 2 days. How about this? I'll come look for you in 3 days and take you to see that inscription master. Mulin said, All right. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He hadn't expected that there would really be a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City. Grade 6 inscription masters were extremely rare. Their status was extremely high and respected, and they were even more respected than ordinary Sea of Soul Realm experts. Sea of Soul Realm experts were extremely rare in the entire Profound Sky region. Every single one of them was a figure that could dominate Profound Sky region. The 3 realms of spiritual God were respectively Sea of Soul Realm, Spiritual Embryo Realm, and Spiritual God Realm. Every realm was incomparably profound. At the same time, the power they grasped was incomparably terrifying. It simply had the ability to destroy the heavens and earth. It was absolutely not something that martial king realm experts could compare to. After the domain enlightened spirit god realm was the martial monarch realm. The peak of the spiritual god realm was also called supremacy. Supremacy 9 Suns was the peak of the spiritual god realm and was only a step away from the martial emperor realm. Of course, that realm was extremely far away from Lu Ming. Now wasn't the time to think about this. Next, Lu Ming chatted with Mulins and Mu Shiyuan for a while. Lu Ming, heal your injuries first. Mulins instructed with some concern. Then, she left with Mu Shiyuan. After Mulins and Mu Shiyuan left, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and circulated his qi to heal his injuries. Previously, Lu Ming had taken 2 of the sacred stars' attacks head-on, causing him to suffer heavy injuries. He also knew that the sacred star hadn't used much strength in those 2 moves. Otherwise, Lu Ming definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand them. 3 hours later, Lu Ming's injuries were much better. He believed that he would be completely healed in less than a day. Half a year. If we want to catch up to the sacred star in half a year, we need more resources. The most important thing is the will of the heavens and earth. As long as the will of the heavens and earth increases, as long as I have supreme-grade spiritual crystals, my cultivation will continue to increase. Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming now had the Enlightenment ancient tree and comprehended the concept of heaven and earth extremely quickly. However, Lu Ming was not satisfied. At this speed, there was no way they would be able to catch up to the sacred star in half a year. Profound crystals. If I have a large amount of profound crystals and Enlightenment ancient tree, I'll be able to comprehend the will of heaven and earth much faster. Only then will I be able to catch up to the Saint Star. Lu Ming pondered. To be honest, Lu Ming was also under a lot of pressure. The main thing was that the time was too short, only half a year. Half a year later, I must defeat the sacred star. If I can't defeat the sacred star, how can I fight against Martial Emperor De in the future? Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly, his gaze firm. Immediately, Lu Ming took out the Enlightenment ancient tree and placed it beside him. Then he took out a fire profound crystal. He planned to improve his will of fire first. Now, Lu Ming's will of fire had reached the early stage of level 1 lesser success, which was only slightly weaker than the will of thunder. However, Lu Ming had 320 fire attribute profundity crystals in his hands. He could comprehend the fire concept the fastest. Crack! Lu Ming exerted his strength and crushed the fire attribute, profound, meaning crystal. Threads of concept permeated the surroundings of Lu Ming. Lu Ming closed his eyes and started to comprehend the will of fire. Originally, the will of heaven and earth in this area was a little stronger than an Enlightenment ancient tree and the profound crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached a terrifying speed. His comprehension of the will of fire had increased crazily. Crack! Crack! Lu Ming crushed another piece of fire attribute, profound, meaning crystal, after he had used it up, one after another. After a day, Lu Ming had consumed 20 fire profound crystals. Lu Ming's will of fire had a breakthrough, reaching the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, catching up with the will of thunder. Fast, too fast. 1 day's time was equivalent to a year's time for others, or even longer. At this time, Lu Ming's injuries had already healed. Continue. Lu Ming continued to take out fire profound crystals and crush them, continuing to comprehend the will of fire. In the blink of an eye, the 3-day time limit with Mulins had arrived. In less than 3 days, Lu Ming had consumed a total of 60 fire attribute profundity crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached the peak of the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, almost reaching the late stage of level 1 lesser success. The comprehension of the will of fire was more difficult as one progressed. As long as his will of fire reached the late stage of level 1 lesser success, Lu Ming's cultivation could be improved again, reaching the 5th level of Martial King Realm. If the will of fire did not improve, it would be difficult to improve one's cultivation. On this day, Mulins arrived at Lu Ming's courtyard on time. Lu Ming, let's go. I'll take you to see the inscription master, Mulins said. Okay. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. Mulins led Lu Ming into the depths of the city. There were very few pedestrians on the streets of the 4th area. Presumably, if he wasn't training outside, he was working hard in closed-door cultivation. Lu Ming followed Mullins, turning left and right, and came to a shabby stone house. "Is this the residence of the inscription master?" Lu Ming was surprised. "Yes, this inscription master has a strange temper, but he is good friends with my father. He should agree to help you, right?" Mullins said. However, from her tone, she didn't sound very confident. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. The two walked into the stone house. There was a small courtyard inside, but there were all kinds of scrap metal piled up in the courtyard like garbage. "Uncle Huang, Uncle Huang," Mullins called out in a low voice. "Who is it? You're disturbing my dream again." Suddenly, an aged voice sounded in the courtyard. Lu Ming was shocked. The voice seemed to be ringing in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming hurriedly turned around, but he did not see a shadow. Lu Ming sensed carefully, but there was no aura at all. "Uncle Huang, it's me, Mullins. I have something to ask you for help today." Mullins said softly, looking around with her beautiful eyes. "So it's Little Lon. Okay, I admit defeat. Tell me, what do you want from me?" The old voice sounded again. "Uncle Huang, I want to ask you to help me refine a level 6 spiritual weapon spear." Mullins said, "Level 6 spiritual weapon spear? This little girl really dares to ask. You want to refine it for this young man, right? Well, have you brought the spiritual crystals? Have you brought the materials?" The old voice sounded. "Senior." Lu Ming cupped his fists in the air and said, "I have the spiritual crystals, but I don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon." "You don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon? Well, I'll exchange them with spiritual crystals. I'll pay the materials for you, a total of 5 million spiritual crystals." The old voice sounded. Five million spiritual crystals? Mullins widened her eyes in shock. "Uncle Huang, 5 million supreme-grade spiritual crystals is too expensive. On the market, a LV6 spiritual weapon is only a few 100,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.